The 336th meeting of the Windham School District Board of Trustees is called to order in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, the Open Meetings Act. During this meeting, the board will be conducting business from the agenda posted in the Texas Register. Members of the board present for this meeting are Vice Chairman Darrell Perriman, Secretary Pastor Larry Miles, members Judge Molly Francis, Judge Faith Johnson, Ambassador Sishan Siv, Eric Nichols, and Dr. Rodney Burrow. A quorum is present and the 336th meeting of the board is declared open. It is 8:18. Before we get started, I would like to invite you to join in pledging allegiance to our United States and Texas flags. Deputy Executive Director Oscar Mendoza will lead us in the pledges. Mr. Mendoza, please begin.
Please join us. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mendoza. A little cramped today.
Yeah. It's okay.
Dr. Burrow, will you open up our meeting with a word of prayer?
Yes. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this day and the opportunity to be in El Paso, Lord. We pray that you bless the people here. Lord, we pray that you bless the Windham School District, Lord, the administration, the teachers, and most of all the students. We pray that the knowledge imparted to them, Lord, will be beneficial for them. Lord, we pray that you bless our country and our state right now, and we pray special blessings for the families of those lost in the submersible, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Burrow. As a courtesy to speakers and guests in the meeting, please turn electronic devices to the silent or vibrate mode. Thank you. Are there any public officials that are here or their staff representatives who are visiting today? If not, still thank you for your support. The Windham School District Board of Trustees is committed to providing an opportunity for public presentations on posted agenda topics, as well as public comments on issues within its jurisdiction, as provided in Board Rule 300.1. Persons interested in speaking at today's meeting were required to complete and submit a registration card at least 10 minutes prior to the meeting's posted start time. As no cards were received prior to the required deadline, the board will not hear public presentation on posted agenda topics today. And so now let's begin with the recognitions. Windham School District Sanchez Campus Principal Ofelia Jimenez would like to recognize several individuals today. Ms. Jimenez, thank you for joining us today. If you're all ready, you may begin.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board, and Superintendent Hartman. As you may recall from my recognition in December of 2021, my name is Ofelia Jimenez, and I am the Sanchez Campus Principal. It is my honor to stand before you again today and introduce to you a few of my hardworking staff. Norma Castañón. Norma Castañón has always attributed her work ethic and values to the environment in which she was raised. A native El Pasoan, she mirrors her community in the way that she values unity and hard work. She is the proud eldest daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Aguilar and is supported and loved by her husband of 30 years as well as her 3 amazing children. Previously a certified optician for over 11 years, in 1997, Ms. Castañón carried these skills with her to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, serving the agency for over 5 years. While others may have shied away from such a 360 career turn, Ms. Castañón dove in head first. During her tenure, she has consistently gone above and beyond each of her roles. Ms. Castañón not only gets the job done, but also uses her exceptional creativity to figure out how to improve a position for the next person, always keeping in mind the success of her team. She has served our state for over 26 years in multiple roles. In 2002, she joined Windham School District, where she served as a testing clerk, a testing specialist, and now as the assistant librarian. Notably, Ms. Castañón was recognized as a Spanish interpreter for over 20 years as she served in each of these roles. Ms. Castañón accomplished this all while simultaneously obtaining her Bachelor's of Science degree in business and raising a family full-time. As you look along the library walls, you will see inspirational quotes and poems. They're just small examples of the intentionality that Ms. Castañón puts into her work. Our campus, department, and state are better because of all the gifts that she has dedicated to her work. Please join me in congratulating Ms. Castañón for her hard work and dedication to Windham School District.
I don't know, does Ms. Castañón, do you want to say a few words, or?
I just want to say thank you, board members. I'm very gracious to be in this situation. I never thought it would be this awesome career. I do encourage everybody to take and reinvent themselves constantly. This is what is one of my tributes to myself. And thank you for all the support that I've always had around me.
Well, and again, congratulations, Ms. Castañón, on an outstanding performance and an outstanding career. And why don't we go ahead and get a photo at the seal?
Do you mind if I make a quick comment?
Okay, hold on, more comments.
All right, I do just want to quickly mention that, much like public schools, Windham School District has an accountability rating system, A through F with a school grade. And it is very difficult to become an A campus, and Sanchez team is an A campus, and they were presented with their banner and award yesterday. And it's very fitting today because this is the inaugural photograph of our new Windham logo here. This is the first time it's being used. This was developed by students at the Hilltop campus, that's women's campus. So really happy that you'll be the first individual to take that photo with our new seal.
There you go.
We would also like to recognize Yvonne Vasquez. She is our Academic Teacher of the Year. Ms. Vasquez was born and raised in El Paso, Texas. She's the 8th child of 10 and the first in her family to earn a college degree. Ms. Vasquez has been married for 35 years, has 4 amazing children and 8 amazing grandchildren. In 2013, Ms. Vasquez earned her bachelor's degree in criminal justice from the University of Phoenix. Employed with TBCJ for nearly 2 years as an assistant mailroom supervisor, she then went to earn her EC through 6 generalist teaching certification. In 2014, Ms. Vasquez joined the Windham School District. While working with Windham, Ms. Vasquez has taught Literacy 1 reading, Literacy 1-2 reading, and Cognitive Intervention Program and changes. She is currently a Title I teacher at the Sanchez campus. Please join me in thanking Ms. Vasquez for her dedication to Windham.
I want to thank Windham for taking a chance and hiring a non-educator, being the first time 9 years ago. I have appreciated the opportunity to allow myself to grow and to accept others for what they've gone through, like Windham is giving chances. So it has improved my family's life and me on a personal level. So for that, I thank Windham.
Well, congratulations, Ms. Vasquez, on such an outstanding job. And, and like you said, a non-traditional career to serve as an example to others. And I hope I have 8 children myself, so you being the 8th child, I hope you set a good example for your siblings, unlike my 8th child. So, and that's enough of that.
Next, I would like to introduce Efren Navarro. He is our Life Skills Teacher of the Year. Mr. Navarro?
I'm already here.
Good. Mr. Navarro began his career with Windham in 2022 as a Literacy 1-2 teacher for GED Prep. He then transitioned to teach the Cognitive Intervention Program at the Sanchez campus here in El Paso. This is Mr. Navarro's 30th year in education. Prior to joining Windham, he taught in various school districts in Texas to include El Paso ISD, Clint ISD, Socorro ISD, and Seguin ISD. He has experience in all levels of education from elementary to high school. Mr. Navarro is married, a proud father, and an even prouder grandfather of 4. Please join me in thanking Mr. Navarro for his dedication to Windham School District and to Sanchez campus.
I had a speech, but I left it in my car, so I'll make this quick. Windham has been the best teaching experience I've had, ever. I appreciate my team, my wife, my family, my friends, my students. They are what makes me do what I do. I love my job, and I thank you for the opportunity.
All right, well, congratulations, Mr. Navarro, for a great job, and I appreciate you left your speech in the car. Just don't leave your grandkids in the car. That's all I'm asking.
And last but not least, our CTE Vocational Teacher of the Year, Mr. Ruben Zambrano. Mr. Zambrano was born and raised here in El Paso, and he's the youngest of 5 children. He is married and has 2 beautiful daughters, ages 17 and 23. He earned his bachelor's degree in accounting and a Master's of Business Association with a minor in Human Resources from the University of Phoenix. In addition, Mr. Zambrano has completed coursework in adult education. He has been an educator for over 19 years. He previously worked as a job coach specializing in vocational training serving special needs children with the Isleta Independent School District. Mr. Zambrano also held roles as an instructor for both the trades and business departments for Anamark College, Park University here at El Paso, and Vista College. Mr. Zambrano joined the Windham School District as the electrical trades teacher for the Sanchez campus in December of 2021. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Zambrano on all his accomplishments.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to be in this school district. I've really been able to enjoy it. I've learned a lot of these students how to help them in their careers of going to a different route. So it really inspires me to show them how to do electrical and do some basic construction skills, and just to see them grow. As they come back and do my electrical class, I see them grow a lot. It's very nice to see. Thank you.
And congratulations, Mr. Zambrano. Today's proposed consent items include excused absences for Judge Molly Francis and Mr. Eric Nichols from the April 21st, 2023 meeting. Are there any amendments, objections, or abstentions to the proposed consent items? Hearing none, the consent items posted for this meeting's agenda will stand approved. The next item on the agenda is a report from the Superintendent of the Windham School District, Christina Hartman. If you are ready, Ms. Hartman, please proceed.
Yes, good morning, Chairman and members. Today I'm going to provide an update on the intern program at Windham School District. Over the last several years, Windham School District has helped college and university students create a starting point in their careers as they prepare to enter the workforce. Through Windham's intern program, these individuals are given the opportunity to gain hands-on experience in their fields of training and provide extensive support to the district and staff. Several Windham departments, including communications, information technology, and library services, utilize intern positions to further their department's outreach and support. Windham is proud to welcome current or recently graduated students studying from various universities and colleges as they begin to explore potential career options. These students must be studying within or have knowledge of the field in which they are applying. This year-long internship is a wonderful opportunity for these individuals to apply what they have learned in the classroom, obtain hands-on job experience, and establish a foundation with Windham that could potentially lead to a full-time position. Interns within the communications department are given knowledge and experience in areas such as graphic design, marketing, social media, writing, and interview tactics. Communications interns provide extensive support in completing projects, including the district's annual performance report, regular press releases, and covering district functions for photo and video graphics. They also support staff with the task of creating eye-catching and innovative social media graphics to further Windham's message across all district social media platforms. The most recent communications intern, Shelby McVeigh, Texas A&M University graduate, accepted a full-time position with Windham in January of 2023 as a communications coordinator after completing her internship with us. The Library Services Department gives interns the opportunity to become familiar with the categorization and cataloging of the district's library records. The interns learn and sharpen their cataloging skills, which could then aid them to become eligible for a permanent library position with Windham or in the community. The IT department links practical work within the field to what interns are learning in the classroom by assigning tasks such as maintaining computers, inventory, and installing software. Windham works closely with associated universities to allow IT interns to earn coursework credit through their daily job functions in order to meet graduation requirements. By introducing the interns to important fundamentals such as workplace ethics and employee responsibility, the program helps establish the interns as a professional foundation. The district's IT department currently has 4 interns, with 2 recently graduating and beginning the job search and potential selection process with Windham. Encouraged by his supervisors and peers to apply for a full-time position after completing his internship with the district, Mario Zavala, help desk technician, credits Windham for giving him the confidence needed to enter the workforce after becoming familiar with the work environment and job responsibilities. And I will add that the staff from the campuses often comment that Mario Zavala is our Employee of the Year in the administration building for all the help that he provides. So great value in interns. Windham's intern program has been able to overall act as a reliable source for helping fill staff shortages and introducing a new world of career opportunities to prospective students and recent graduates. Many interns, including the current library services and IT interns, are students or recent graduates of Sam Houston State University located in Huntsville. Interns often bring fresh insight and ideas to Windham, helping the district grow and incorporate progressive strategies, and we look forward to expanding this program to other departments to further elevate future projects. For example, we just approved a couple of intern positions for our high school programs last week, teacher intern programs, and an administrative assistant intern program. Through the district's efforts, interns are gaining the confidence to enter the workforce successfully as well-rounded and educated individuals within their fields of training. The intern program allows Windham's mission to be spread through innovative minds, furthering the message of the work the district is doing to support our students in our Texas communities. I know that I speak for all departments when I say that our interns are incredibly valued and the work that they do daily does not go unnoticed. This concludes my report, and I'll pause for any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Hartman.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are we only using interns in one location, or is this district-wide, or where are we there?
So currently, the IT interns, the library services interns, and the communications interns are located in Huntsville. The new communications intern vacancy that's now available because Shelby has left is telework eligible, so it can be located anywhere. And the high school teacher intern positions are at the Ferguson campus in Midway and at the Woodman campus in Gatesville, and those will be expanding too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Sounds like most of our good interns are coming from Sam Houston State. Is there a thought that we might expand the program to recruit from other places, including maybe the Houston area schools, or what's the thought there?
Absolutely. So our intern program is fairly new. It's been over the last couple of years, and we wanted to make sure that our process is well established. And at this point, one of the things that our principals will be doing is going out to universities and colleges and speaking in the different classes to bring the opportunity of Windham to light for those universities. So we would welcome participation from any colleges or universities that are interested.
Great.
They've really helped fulfill some staff shortages, and they've enjoyed the positions, and we're able to bring those on board,
Those are
particularly with our IT.
Yeah, that's a great program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? If not, the next item on the agenda is the chairman's report. Thorough coordination and planning by the Texas Department of Criminal Justice's Manufacturing, Agribusiness, and Logistics Mall Division led to the implementation of skills demonstration and career expo events, with 3 having been held to date. Organization and support of these events is supported by various TBCJ divisions: reentry and integration, facilities, correctional institutions, rehabilitation programs in collaboration with post-secondary education institutions, parole, and Windham School District. The first event occurred in October of 2022 at the Wynn Unit, the second in April of 2023 at the Hilltop Unit, and the most recent event in May at the Dominguez Unit. At these events, hosted by TDCJ employers were invited to witness talented students as they showcase their skills learned in Windham Career and Technical Education CTE programs, college certificate programs, and on-the-job within apprenticeship programs. Featured areas of training include welding, culinary, electrical, fiber optics, and construction, and carpentry. These events are full of opportunity for both the students and the employers. The employers are able to see and speak with skilled, qualified students that will soon be seeking employment, and the students are given the chance to show that they are educated, trained individuals that are capable of holding meaningful employment. The skills demonstration events also allow students to practice interaction and conversation with outside stakeholders. Following these interactive opportunities, employers provided insightful feedback to Windham. They were impressed with the students' skill set and knowledge, but expressed that the students were lacking confidence when speaking with them. The industry experts suggested focusing on skills such as a firm handshake, maintaining eye contact, and speaking with a purpose. These have historically been limited opportunities for students to practice communication and confidence with internal and external stakeholders in the prison environment. To address the recommendation of employers, Windham developed the Student Ambassador Program. Each class has a designated student ambassador. When a visitor enters the classroom, the student ambassador is responsible for greeting them at the door, introducing themselves and the teacher, and explaining the class purpose, including the lesson objectives for the day. By implementing the Student Ambassador Program, students are given the opportunity to practice having confident conversations so they are prepared for interactions in their community upon re-entry, including job interviews. John Lilly, Division Director of Instruction, said, "The Student Ambassador Program has been a powerful, effective addition to the Windham School District. Giving students the chance to practice the soft skills is essential in preparing them to hold conversations with confidence." And when I've toured units recently, I've gotten to experience these student ambassadors, and it really is a game changer to see the confidence that they have when they're presenting to visitors that are coming into the classroom environment. So I just want to thank you personally for implementing that. And also, please enjoy this video demonstrating the program in action.
I'm here with Mr. Bell, and this is the classroom. Usually before a student starts welding outside with some hands-on experience, we usually come in here and start with a virtual welder and our safety test. So after your safety test, we do this virtual welder here. Pretty much just get some the feel for using a welding rod. When we're using this torch here, it's pretty much for the students at the end phase of this class. So once you get out of the 1 through 4 position, you go on to a T-joint, which is a fillet weld. This is all like a structural welding in the core class. So the last position after fillet weld is V-groove. A V-groove, you would take that weld that you made, clean it up, cut it, and bend it. And then what you'll have after you bend it is something that looks like this.
And so when a student completes all of this, they pass on, what can you earn out of this class?
Completing this course and being able to make sound welds, you earn for one, this is Windham vocational welding, so you earn a Windham degree, and then you also earn NCCER certification. And that certification there is a national accredited certification throughout America.
So that's an industry recognized certification that you could then take to an employer.
Yes, sir.
To show them.
Yes, sir.
That you're qualified to be a welder.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Excellent.
I know that I can speak on behalf of Windham when I say that I am thrilled with the growth in student confidence and look forward to what is yet to come from the Student Ambassador Program. And I encourage my other board members to go to visit the Windham classrooms and see this for yourself. It really changes the whole environment of the classroom to see them gaining their confidence there in the environment. And this concludes my report. Next item on agenda is an overview of the Sanchez campus, which will be presented by Windham Sanchez Campus Principal Ophelia Jimenez. Ms. Jimenez, if you are ready, please proceed.
Good morning again, Chairman and members and Superintendent Hartman. As principal of the Rogelio Sanchez State Jail, it is my privilege to provide you an overview of our campus. Located in El Paso, we provide academic, life skills, career and tech education, as well as specialty programs to more than 1,100 male students a year to prepare them to reenter our Texas communities. Specifically, for adult basic education, we teach academics, English as a second language, and we prepare students to take their high school equivalency. Our life skills program consists of changes and cognitive intervention courses designed to help students change their thinking patterns and develop skills essential for success in all areas of life. Windham also provides specialty services to the campus in the form of Title I support to help students who are under the age of 22 and assist in their journey of obtaining a high school equivalency certification or a high school diploma. The Sanchez campus offers special education as well as the family literacy program. which allows incarcerated parents the opportunities to become active partners in their children's education through parenting curriculum, interactive activities, and parent-teacher conferences. Our staff operates a library at the campus to serve our residents and provide them with education, fiction, and nonfiction books. Additionally, we offer culinary arts, electrical trades, and heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, or HVAC. With these programs, students have an opportunity to earn third-party industry certifications and learn the occupational skills needed to gain employment upon release to their communities. The Sanchez campus provides on-the-job training and apprenticeship opportunities as well. Through the apprenticeship program, students gain invaluable experience working in their field, allowing them to earn a Department of Labor certification following completion. Our team consists of 13 teachers and 5 administrative staff members who work diligently to help our students and campus succeed. Our campus received an A on our accountability rating for the past 2 school years and currently maintains a 93 rating for the current school year. It is through the hard work of our students and our staff that we are able to achieve this distinguished metric. Personally, I believe our campus success comes from effective and constant communication, a strong and cohesive team, and clear and high expectations for all students and staff members. I'm proud of the success that we have achieved at the Sanchez campus, and I'm honored to be leading this team of wonderful educators. And I just want to add that my whole staff is here today. Windham staff, please stand. Be recognized. And Dr. Medina. I thank you for your time, and I will pause for any questions.
Well, that's an I think that's the first time that we've had the entire staff turn out for a Windham board meeting. So thank you very much for coming and being a part of our board meeting. It means a lot to see all of you here. So thank you on that. Also, I noticed you had a slide of birdhouses. I believe we have a board member who actually has a birdhouse.
Yes, sir. Ambassador Siv.
Thank you, Ambassador.
You said your rating was 93, is that correct, 93%?
Yes.
How do you compare to the other Windham campuses? Are you in the top 1%? It sounds
We are ranked number 2, and we still have time to push that on up. Right, guys? Yes, we're number 2 in the state. In our league, or we are considered a 2A campus, and so we are the highest ranked there, but we want to be the highest ranked in the state.
That's great, that's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I need a few minutes to change things around. If all of you want to get your picture with the state seal, feel free to do that. So thank you very much for that overview, Ms. Jimenez. The next item on the agenda is an update on the professional development program, which will be presented by Administrator Mario Cotton. Mr. Cotton, please join us at the podium. If you are ready, you may begin.
Let's get my glasses on. All right, good morning, Chairman O'Daniel, Superintendent Hartman, and board members. The Windham School District Professional Development Department works diligently to plan, organize, and execute conferences and trainings for Windham staff throughout the year. Within the Professional Development Department are education specialists with various areas of focus that work hard to support campuses and curriculum development. The education specialist areas of focus include academic, life skills, technology, restrictive housing, and family literacy. 6 additional education specialist positions will be added to the professional development team in the future to provide specific regional technology support. It is because of the dedication and commitment of these individuals that Windham is able to hold innovative, informative professional development opportunities for Windham staff. These events are coordinated with the purpose of delivering important updates and information, training on best and innovative practices and policies and procedures, and providing opportunities for networking to share ideas, challenges, and solutions. With Windham educators and staff spread across the state, these essential events are excellent opportunities for staff to achieve professional growth, collaborate, and share best practices in person. Recently, Windham has held numerous professional development events, including the Academic Teacher Conference, trade-specific career and technical education forums, testing specialist and clerks training, special education training, and the Principal's Leadership Academy. After thorough planning and preparation, the Academic Teacher Conference was held in May in Waco, Texas, for all Windham academic teachers. The three-day conference, spearheaded by Dina Abernathy, Jody Christie, and special support from Cherie Straughter, included leadership updates, guest and keynote speakers, and breakout sessions addressing multiple high-interest areas. Dr. Manny Scott, an original freedom writer, was the keynote speaker and delivered an inspiring presentation about his life and the impact that educators had on his journey and success today. Breakout sessions included various informational sessions hosted by Windham's education specialists, a small group instruction workshop focusing on individualized student instruction, a session on teacher self-care hosted by Windham's Recreation and Wellness Department, and other outside presenters that offered resourceful tips and tools to Windham educators. Paul Gathright, instructional technology education specialist, hosted a laptop updates session to ensure all academic teachers' laptops were updated and delivered training on the new resources. Teachers use laptops in the classroom to enhance instruction for students through programs such as the Office Suite for presentations and student assignment management, GED test tutorials, to allow students an opportunity to become familiar with the testing format and Colibri, an online learning platform, to implement instructional videos. Following the event, a survey was distributed to obtain feedback from all attendees, including areas of success and potential areas of improvement. Staff expressed immense satisfaction with the keynote speaker and provided suggestions for breakout session topics for the next conference, which will be the Life Skills Conference, to be spearheaded by Jane Pavelka, Liz Morris, and Jerry Brown. The Professional Development Department has also been busy collaborating with the CTE Department, arranging trade-specific staff development for Windham CTE instructors. In order to provide training that is geared towards specific industry trades, CTE staff development events were coordinated based on their industry of expertise. This approach allowed the agendas to focus on specific information and resources that will directly benefit the instructors in attendance. Recently, construction trades instructors gathered excuse me, for the 3 days of informative, collaborative learning. Windham leadership and administrators provided department-related updates and training including shop safety, careers in construction, and the power of soft skills. The conference concluded with a resounding presentation on staff wellness by Todd Withorn, motivational speaker, and panel-style conversation with former Windham construction students, speaking about their experiences in Windham programming and their journeys since returning to their communities, including securing jobs in their field of training and advancing within their respective companies of employment. A second trade-specific CTE training was held in May for Windham's automotive instructors. Staff convened to build upon their knowledge and skills through hands-on training. This advantageous opportunity included training by Lab Resources Tech Lab on technology and equipment that is utilized by the instructors in their classrooms every day in order to prepare their students for success in the automotive industry. In addition, a staff development was held this month for culinary and urban farming instructors. Staff met in Marble Falls, Texas, to tour organizations directly related to their area of expertise. Culinary teachers toured the San Antonio Food Bank, and urban farming teachers toured Lone Star Farms. All instructors then toured the Horseshoe Bay Resort. Horseshoe Bay is a second chance employer that is interested in hiring qualified Windham alumni upon reentry. Touring the resort allows instructors to witness firsthand the potential career opportunities available to students upon successful course completion and reentry. Testing specialists and clerks recently met to receive district and department updates, guidelines on testing procedures, and information on GED test security presented by the GED Testing Service. A representative from the Data Recognition Corporation, vendor for the Test of Adult Basic Education, or TABE, was also in attendance to speak with staff about adult education assessments and testing. By bringing staff together from across the state, collaborative opportunities are enhanced, allowing staff to communicate and connect on job-specific items. The Professional Development Department coordinated with Dr. Stephanie Dominique, Special Education and Federal Programs Administrator, to conduct a special education training. All special education and Title I teachers were in attendance, as well as priority place unit principals who currently have a field special education or Title I position on their campus. Regional principals and the Department Director of Instruction also attended the training. Staff attended training sessions offered by Region 12 Educational Service Center, including individualized education plan writing and training, and inclusion support guidance. Title I teachers received their Z-Space augmented reality technology and were trained on proper usage. Z-Space is an excellent way to enhance instruction and get students excited about learning. In March 19, Windham principals, new to their roles, came together to review various district processes and procedures. On the first day, each regional principal presented on an important, relevant topic, including positive school climate, building a team mentality, and special education programs. Day 2 consisted of presentations covering campus audits, accountability, and a Q&A session with the Division Director of Instruction, John Lilly. The Principal's Leadership Academy proved to be a resounding success, and we are looking forward to additional sessions in the future. Finally, the Windham administration staff recently participated in a team-building event. The agenda included guest speakers such as Windham Board of Trustees Vice Chairman, Ms. Darylyn Perryman, who spoke with staff about different types of mindsets and how to best communicate with each other, and Health and Wellness speaker, Mr. Todd Whitthorne, who educated staff on the importance of taking care of yourself. Throughout the agenda were also team walking opportunities to honor Melinda Cobb, a Windham administrative assistant who was lost to a domestic violence homicide incident in March. Excuse me. By the end of the day,
By the end of the day, the Windham administration building team had collectively walked 3.14 miles, which is Melinda's birthday. It was a great day full of growth, wellness, and collaboration.
it is a goal of the Professional Development Department to bring together staff, deliver insightful resources and training, and provide chances for networking. There is power in teamwork and collaboration, and Windham strives to enhance that power through meaningful staff development events, conferences, and trainings. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Have you ever worked in radio? You have a brain.
I have heard that before. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And I just want to say thank you very much for that report, and I'm just going to take a prerogative here. Why don't we have a moment of silence for in recognition for the incident that you spoke of? Thank you very much. And but you're not going anywhere, because as was pointed out, you have a wonderful voice and we want to hear more of it. So the next item on the agenda is a presentation on celebrating Texas history, Juneteenth. So you will be presenting, Mr. Cotton. If you are ready, you may proceed.
On January the 1st, 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation was passed, granting freedom to enslaved African Americans across the United States. However, turmoil within the Confederate States was still prevalent. As a result, enslaved individuals would not be proclaimed free until June 19, 1865, when approximately 2,000 Union troops arrived in Galveston Bay, Texas, to announce that more than 250,000 enslaved people throughout the state were now free by executive decree. Since then, June 19 has been known as Juneteenth and became a day of celebration declared by the newly free people in Texas. Large celebrations began the following year with events such as prayer services, inspirational speakers, games, rodeos, and dancing taking place in commemoration. In many areas of Texas, freed men and women purchased land known as emancipation grounds for Juneteenth gatherings. Such examples include Emancipation Park in Houston, Texas, purchased in 1872, as well as Booker T. Washington Park in Mahia, Texas. Juneteenth celebrations declined during World War II, but returned in 1950, with large events taking place at the Texas State Fairgrounds in Dallas, Texas. During the late 1950s and 1960s, as the focus shifted to the expansion of freedom for African Americans, participation in Juneteenth was limited. It was not until the 1970s that celebrations were revived, and in 1979, the 66th Texas State Legislature passed House Bill 1016, declaring June 19 Emancipation Day in Texas, cementing this monumental day as a legal state holiday. Since then, the celebration of Juneteenth continues across Texas with parades and programs, among many other events. On June 17, 2021, President Biden signed a bill making Juneteenth a federal holiday, further bookmarking June 19 as a day of celebration for not only for those within Texas, but across the entire United States. Windham School District is proud to recognize this honorable day of celebration. Staff and students across the district recognize this day throughout the month of June through course instruction, special projects, and highlighted literature. Happy Juneteenth, everyone.
I have the opportunity to work with Mr. Cotton on Windham business, and I just want to compliment you on your presentation, and this is a very Texas holiday. And thank you for a good presentation. Thank you for the opportunity to work with you.
I just want to also thank Pastor Miles as well for becoming so involved and being passionate about opportunities to speak on the importance of Texas history. And all board members, you are all welcome as well to attend. But again, thank you especially,
Yes,
Pastor Miles.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Cotton. The next item on the agenda is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding depository contract for 2024-2025 biennium. Wyndham's Chief Financial Officer, Robert O'Banion, will be presenting. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. O'Banion. If you're ready, you may proceed.
Good morning, Chairman and members. This morning I'm presenting our depository contract for the 2024-25 biennium for board consideration. A summary of the bids for the contract is provided in the board agenda packet. Windham received 3 bids from the 5 bid solicitation packets that were sent out to local banks. Windham School District followed the Texas Education Agency guidelines and selection process in evaluating each bank response. Based on the interest rates, fees charged, and services offered, we selected the First Financial Bank to perform the district depository services. First Financial Bank is our bank depository and has been for the past 8 years. Board approval is being requested to award First Financial Bank the Windham School District depository services for September 1, 2024 through August 31st, 2025. At this time, I'll pause for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. O'Banion. Are there any questions? Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Yes, you do, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Windham School District Board of Trustees approve the depository contract for the 2024-2025 biennium as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made. It has been seconded by Judge Francis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding purchases and contracts over $500,000. Mr. O'Banion will be presenting. Members of the board, I don't ordinarily vote unless it is to break a tie. However, my firm represents several entities included in the purchases and contracts over $500,000. Therefore, I will not be taking action today on the purchases and contracts over $500,000. Mr. O'Banion, if you are ready, you may proceed.
Thank you. Good morning again, Chairman and members. I'm requesting approval for 2 purchases over $500,000 this morning. The first is for student instructional software. We recommend this purchase to the Aztec Software Company. The contract total is $3,376,258.20 and will be a renewal license at 80 computer lab sites across the district supporting student academic achievement. The contract also includes 13 license renewals at Title I sites that support our students who are under the age of 21. This purchase is being made through the Educational Service Center Region 19 Allied States Cooperative, which is located right here in El Paso, Texas. Consistent with all of our purchasing cooperatives, the contract is bid and negotiated through the Education Service Center without any fees to the Windham School District. This license agreement is for a total of 3 years, beginning in September 23 and ending August 2026. The multi-year agreement will secure current pricing as well as ensure continuity of services and instruction for the next 3 years. The software provides diagnostic, prescriptive, and computer-based instruction to support and enhance our academic and Title I programs. The second purchase that you see before you is for software licensing for student testing, and we recommend this purchase to the Data Recognition Corporation, also known as DRC. This contract total is $641,980 for a license subscription to use DRC online and offline Test of Adult Basic Education, also known as TABE, to assess educational functioning levels of our adult students. The assessment is approved by the United States Department of Education National Reporting System for Adult Education, and it also follows the Texas Workforce Commission Adult Education Literacy Testing Guidelines. This agreement is for a total of 3 years, beginning in September of 2023 and ending in August of 26. Funding for both of the purchases will be included in our recommended budget for next year. At this time, I'll pause for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. O'Banion. Are there any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. On the, a note on the footnote, there's a 50% variance. Can you explain how that works? Is that typical in terms of these types of approvals?
Yes, we've added that 15% variance, particularly for the Aztec software for expansion to additional campuses. Windham will be expanding to provide educational services to additional 11 new facilities. We currently have an MOU with TBCJ. They're going to be the private facility, privately operated facilities. We are currently building and expanding that program right now, and that 15% will allow us to provide this educational software, which is not in this current contract because we're in the startup process right now, but that will allow us to grow and include that. So, Yes.
Any further questions? Hearing none, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Yes, sir, I move that the Windham School District Board of Trustees approve the purchases and contracts over $500,000 as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second? Second. A motion has been made, has been seconded by Pastor Miles. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Please let the record show I abstained from voting on the purchases and contracts over $500,000. Our next item on the agenda is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding proposed revision of Windham Board Policy 07.05, professional educator contracts. Wyndham's General Counsel Eric Brown will be presenting today. Mr. Brown, I see you're already at the podium. Thank you. If you are ready, please begin.
Chairman O'Daniel, members, Superintendent Hartman, the proposed revisions clarify the duration of probationary contract periods. The revisions also allow the superintendent to extend an educator's probationary period one time for 1 year and allows the superintendent to offer an educator the option of returning to a probationary contract. The remaining revisions generally address organization and grammar. I'll pause for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Are there any questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Windham School District Board of Trustees approve the revision of Windham Board Policy 07.05, professional educator contracts as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made, has been seconded by Mr. Nichols. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding proposed revision of Windham Board Policy 07.12, compensatory time and overtime. Mr. Brown, you may proceed.
These revisions incorporate basic hours of duty and timekeeping procedures from Superintendent Directive 79 hours of duty. Basic policy regarding break time for nursing mothers is also incorporated from Superintendent Directive 79. Accordingly, the policy will be retitled Employee Timekeeping. The remaining revisions address clarity, style, and the elimination of redundancy. I'll pause now for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Are there any questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we do have a motion. I move that the Windham School District Board of Trustees approve the revision of Windham Board Policy 07.12, contemporary time and overtime as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made, has been seconded very forcefully by Judge Johnson. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead. Absolutely.
Make this work? Had it. I lost it. There we go. Okay. Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to say to Superintendent Hartman, every time that I hear updates or new projects or things that Wyndham's doing that I wasn't aware of, I sit back and go, wow, that makes so much sense. And I also know that the way that you do your business, it's done right. And you allow the people who you support to use their creativity, to come up with great ideas, and to move them forward. And that is definition of an awesome leader. I know that you will turn around and give credit to your people, and I'm giving them credit as well. But I just want to say thank you. I continue to be amazed and so proud to get to be a part of your board. Thank you. Thank you. We're a great team.
Thank you. And I want to thank all of you for coming here today and remind you the next meeting of the Windham School District Board of Trustees will be Friday, August 25th, 2023 in Galveston, Texas. There being no further business, the 336th meeting of the Windham School District Board of Trustees is now adjourned. It is 9:17. All right, thank you. So we'll just take like 5 minutes or so. Texas Board of Criminal Justice Business and Financial Operations Committee is called to order in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, the Open Meetings Act. A quorum of the committee is present, and the meeting is now declared open. It is 9:28. The first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Are there any amendments or objections to the proposed minutes as presented? Hearing none, the minutes as presented on the agenda will stand approved. The next item on the agenda is the Manufacturing, Agribusiness, and Logistics Division report. Bill Lewis, Deputy Director for the Agribusiness, Land, and Minerals Department, will be presenting the request to sell land, Stevenson Unit, DeWitt County, Cuero, Texas. I see you're already at the podium. If you're ready, please begin.
Good morning, Chairman O'Daniel, Mr. Collier, members. Today we've got one item on the agenda during the regular session of the Texas Board of Criminal Justice. We'll recommend that the board approve this item. In accordance with House Bill 3636, passed by the 86 legislatures, the Texas Board of Criminal Justice shall sell 100 acres of land located at the Stevenson Unit in DeWitt County. As authorized by Section 4960021 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Board of Criminal Justice may sell state-owned real property under the board's management. Under provisions of the statute, the General Land Office shall negotiate and close the transaction on behalf of the board utilizing procedures set forth in Section 31158C of the Natural Resource Code. Revenue received from the sale of this property shall be deposited in the Capital Trust Fund as directed by TBCJ Rider 51 in the General Appropriations Act. If you will, please direct your attention to the screen. The acreage to be transferred to DeWitt County is located on the east side of the Stevenson Unit property and will be utilized to build a new airport located in Cuero, Texas. DeWitt County has agreed to pay $90,000 for the 100 acres in compensation. TDCJ will retain the mineral rights for that property. I stand available for questions.
Are there any questions from the board?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Recognizing this is a public entity that's purchasing the property, how was the purchase price determined?
The General Land Office actually negotiated that price. Fair market value back in 1992 when the property was purchased. They looked at the different tracts of land and based that on fair market value of that time. That property in itself is landlocked by the airport. There's no road frontage on it. It was actually a few $100s less than the actual property in the beginning.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. The next item on the agenda is a report from Facilities Division Director Ron Hudson on the status of board-approved projects. Mr. Hudson, please. You are already there.
Yes,
if you are ready, please begin.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Chairman O'Daniel, Mr. Collier, members. I would like to provide an update on the status of board-approved projects. Item number 1 is the Coalfield Unit Roofing Project. This project is complete. Item number 2 is the Michael Unit Roofing Project. This project is currently at 27% complete. Contractor has mobilized and prepping to begin roof construction. Material has been delivered to the laydown yard. Item number 3 is the Crane Unit Roofing Project to replace the roof at the reception satellite. This project is currently 95% complete. All roofing is complete. The remaining items consist of minor detail work and installing 2 rooftop HVAC units. Item number 4 is the Mumford Unit Roofing Project. This project is currently 69% complete. Roof work continues on C1, which is the administration area, and G1, which is the maintenance and food service and supply areas. Mechanical equipment continues to arrive. This project continues to move forward. Item number 5 is the Estelle Unit Textile Mill Roof Project. This project is currently 80% complete. Contractor has installed all the upper roof membrane and all mechanical equipment. This project continues to move forward. Item number 6 is the Gesture 3 Unit Roofing Project. This project is currently 32% complete. Roof panels have been delivered and roof construction has begun. Item number 7 is the Ramsey Unit Roofing Project. This project is currently 21% complete. Cell block areas 3 and 4 have been completed. Contractor will be moving to the unit supply roof area. Item number 8 is the Coalfield Unit project to install a new sludge dewatering press. This project is complete. Item number 9 is the Memorial Unit project to repair and replace building structures in the boiler room. This project remains at 98% complete. Contractor has removed most of the old roof on the boiler room and preparing to install rebar for concrete roof pouring. Item number 10 is the Chasefield refurbish and repair water towers 1 and 2 and ground storage tank. This project is currently 49% complete. Ground storage tanks have been tested and sanitized. Tie-ins to the ground storage tanks have been completed. Work continues on water towers 1 and 2. Item number 11 is the Wainwright Unit design-only project to construct a wastewater treatment plant. This design-only project is currently 86% complete. The design-only project is in the first contractual review. Item number 12 is the Wainwright Unit design-only project to construct a water treatment plant. The design-only project is currently 86% complete. The design-only project is in the first contractual review. Item number 13 is the Robertson project to add electronic water controls. This project is currently 45% complete. The 12 building area is complete and is operational. The vendor is currently working on buildings 3 and 4. Item number 14 is the Michael Unit project to repair and replace the fire line restrictive housing 12 building. This project is currently 68% complete. Underground piping is complete. Halos, wall boxes, and electrical for annunciator work is in progress. Item number 15 is the Estelle Unit project to replace and relocate the steam line. This project is complete. Item number 16 is the Telford Unit project to replace hot water and steam piping. This project is currently at 88% complete. System is operational. Installation of the piping is in progress. Item number 17 is the Johnson Unit project to install emergency power to multiple locations. This project remains at 3% complete, awaiting the arrival of the equipment, which is scheduled for July of 2023, and it is on schedule to be there next month. Item number 18 is the Johnson Unit project to install air conditioning systems in buildings B1, B2, B3, pods 1 through 9. This project is currently at 75% complete. Contractor has received 7 of the 9 HVAC units for this project and is currently installing has begun on the unit of those HVAC units. Item number 19 is the GIS unit to install air conditioning systems in Building A. This project is currently 15% complete. Concrete pads have been poured, awaiting delivery of equipment, which is scheduled for next week. Item number 20 is the Ramsey unit replace Region 3 training building. This project is currently 21% complete. Foundation pad work is nearing completion, as the contractor is also prepping the parking lot area and has installed rebar to start pouring concrete for the parking lot. Item 21 is the Clements unit install monitored pulse fence detection systems around the perimeter. This project is 93% complete. The pulse fence is operational. Staff training has been conducted, awaiting final inspection and commissioning of the fence. Item number 22 is the Coalfield unit to install monitored pulse fence detection systems. This project is 80% complete. Contractor is currently installing the pulse fence around the unit. Item 23 is the Conley unit, install monitor pulse fence detection systems. This project remains at 5%. Item number 24 is the Michael unit to install monitor pulse fence detection system. This project remains at 5%. A pre-construction meeting has been conducted. Contractor has materials in the laydown yard and will begin construction as soon as Clements and Coalfield are complete. Item number 25 is the Telford unit to install monitor pulse fence detection systems. This project remains at 5% complete. This concludes my project status update. I stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board?
I have a question on the Clements unit with our recent 100-year flood. Did that slow us down quite a bit on that fence project?
It did slow us down some, but we have.
Still looking to be done and running?
Yes, sir. It's up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's up and operational now. What we're doing now is we're going through the testing process for like a 30, 45-day period. Once we get past that and we, notify any issues, then we will deem that project complete at the end of that. Yes, sir.
Any further questions?
So, Mr. Hudson, I'm looking at items 18 and 19, and this thing doesn't work. Okay, 18 and 19, and I just thought it was kind of interesting. The board approved the first one in June of 2022, and the original completion date was May of 2022. That's a pretty good trick. Same thing with the installing air conditioning in the GIST unit. Same thing, August approval, original completion date in July. That's a good trick. We need to use them more if they can have completion dates before we even get the board approval.
Yes, sir.
Well, as I say about Mr. Hudson, he's always going back to the future.
Yes, ma'am. All right.
Any further questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
There being no further business, the Texas Board of Criminal Justice Business and Financial Operations Committee is now adjourned. It is 9:39. I'm thinking we just slide right into the, all right. It's called to order in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, the Open Meetings Act. During this meeting, the board will be conducting business from the agenda posted in the Texas Register. Members of the board present for this meeting include Vice Chairman Darrell Perriman, Secretary Pastor Larry Miles, members Judge Faith Johnson, Judge Molly Francis, Eric Nichols, Ambassador Sishan Siv, and Dr. Rodney Burrow. A quorum of the board is present, and the meeting is now declared open. It is 9:40. Pastor Miles, will you open our meeting up with a word of prayer?
Yes, sir. Join me in prayer. Father God, we thank you for this day that we get to be about your business, Lord God, in El Paso, Lord. We pray your blessing upon El Paso. Lord, we pray your blessing upon these proceedings today. Lord, we thank you that your mercy is new this morning upon us and your grace is sufficient for this day. Lord God, we pray your blessings upon every correctional officer that, in TBCJ, Lord. We pray for our inmates, their families, Lord God. We pray your blessing upon us, Lord God. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And I would just like to add, thank you, Lord, for Pastor Miles, and may he have a very happy birthday today. And I even
31.
And here's some cookies for you.
Looky there. I'll take it, Chairman.
As a courtesy to speakers and guests in the meeting, please turn electronic devices to the silent or vibrate mode. Thank you. I would like to recognize the public officials and our staff representatives with us today. Are there any with us today? If not, I still thank you for your support. The Texas Board of Criminal Justice is committed to providing an opportunity for public presentations on posted agenda topics, as well as for public comments on issues within its jurisdiction, as provided in Board Rule 151.4. Persons interested in speaking at today's meeting were required to complete and submit a registration card at least 10 minutes prior to the meeting's posted start time. As no cards were received prior to the required deadline, the board will not hear public presentations on posted agenda items today. So let's start with recognitions. I would like to recognize the new State Council for Offenders Director, Yvonne Martin. Miss Martin was born and raised in Iowa, Louisiana. She graduated from McNeese State University in Lake Charles, Louisiana in 1993 with a Bachelor of Arts in Communications Public Relations. She worked as an interpreter for the deaf and as a substance abuse counselor in Lake Charles, Louisiana before going to law school. Miss Martin was what we affectionately call a non-traditional law student. She began law school when she was 43 and graduated from Paul M. Hebert Law School at Louisiana State University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, when she was 46 years old. Ms. Martin was licensed to practice law in Louisiana in 2003. She began her career as a law clerk at the Cunningham Law Firm in Kinder, Louisiana. She was later promoted to an associate attorney at Cunningham and Doucet. She later worked as a staff attorney at Mental Health Advocacy in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, representing adolescents with legal issues when they also had a mental health diagnosis. In 2006, she moved to Anchorage, Alaska, and practiced at the Protection and Advocacy Agency for the state of Alaska. In Alaska, she also served on the Governor's Council for Disabilities and Special Education. Ms. Martin became licensed to practice law in Texas in 2013. In April of 2015, Ms. Martin began her employment with State Counsel for Offenders as a staff attorney in the Criminal Defense Section. In 2018, Ms. Martin was promoted to Section Chief in the Criminal Defense Section. In May 2023, Ms. Martin was promoted to Director of State Counsel for Offenders after the untimely loss of SCFO's previous director, Justina Persich. Justina made a lot of positive changes at SCFO, and it is Ms. Martin's plan to continue this effort. Ms. Martin has been a practicing attorney for 19 years with experience in criminal and civil law in Louisiana, Alaska, and Texas. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Martin to her new role. Where is she? Oh, well, come on up. You're trying to hide on the back row. That's what I usually do at conferences.
Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Collier, ladies and gentlemen, when I first went to State Council, I happened upon a scripture. It's Hebrews 13:3. Remember those who are in prison as though you were there with them. And I like to use that as a touchstone in my work every day. We're really excited at State Council about the opportunities that we have coming up. But most especially, we're excited about opportunities for our clients. Just want to thank you guys for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you and congratulations, Ms. Martin. Let's get a picture.
Oh.
Our next recognition is from Community Justice Assistance Division Director Carrie Green. Ms. Green would like to recognize Kevin Johnson on being the new Deputy Director for CJAD. Ms. Green, if you are ready, please proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Collier. It is truly my pleasure to introduce you to Kevin Johnson as our new Deputy Division Director here at the Community Justice Assistance Division. Kevin actually began his career as a Community Supervision Officer with the Travis County Adult Probation Department, where he worked a regular caseload, but then also a specialized caseload with substance abusers, and is, very familiar with the intricacies of the probation departments and then the supervision within the community. So then more than 10 years ago, he actually came to CJAD as an auditor, where he was responsible for our program performance reviews. At that time, he was scoring out our community justice plans. Those changed to strategic plans. So he was familiar with our processes, and then he left us. He left us in 2015 to become an analyst at the Legislative Budget Board. And so then at the Legislative Budget Board, he was responsible for agency performance reviews, and then also developed performance measures for agencies. He was responsible for creating and also presenting presentations to the legislature, to legislative committees, legislative staff, public entities, and then also state agencies. He was responsible for monitoring state agency budgets, and then he also prepared appropriations riders and was responsible for fiscal analysis for proposed legislation. So he really gained a wealth of knowledge there at the Legislative Budget Board. And then we were pretty excited that we kind of lured him back. You know, criminal justice is one of those things that people become very passionate about, and you may leave, but many times people will come back, right? So he returned to the agency about 5 years ago as our financial operations director, and that is where he oversaw our budget section, our accounting section, and also our fiscal operations. He has been responsible for streamlining our grant application process and the recommendations for our grants within the probation system. He's an individual that definitely looks at problems from different vantage points, brings different ideas, I think, to problem solve, and I do believe that part of that is because his bachelor's degree is in finance, and then he has his master's degree in public administration. And so, again, wealth of knowledge as an officer, as an auditor with us, as an analyst with the Legislative Budget Board, and then as our financial operations director. So I'm very excited that he's going to be moving into this role, and I know that he will do the agency proud, not only the division, but the agency as a whole.
Thank you, Carrie. That was very nice. And good morning, Chairman and members of the board, Mr. Collier. And just really want to say thank you for the opportunity to Ms. Green and to Mr. Collier. And you know, as Carrie mentioned, you know, criminal justice is kind of what brought me into the field. But I think the support from both Mr. Collier and Ms. Green and this board, and support of innovation, and really trying to do, you know, better tomorrow than the way that we do it today. And so that's really the name of the game for me. And so I appreciate that. And so I look forward to the opportunity and for my future here with TBCJ. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Green. Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for coming back without needing parole revocation. I appreciate that. And congratulations on your new job as Deputy Director. Let's get a picture.
Thank you.
It's his birthday. He can have whatever he wants. Happy birthday. And I'll give you no.
The Texas Board of Criminal Justice recognizes TDCJ employees who have dedicated 25, 30, 35, 40, and 45 years of service to the state of Texas. And after today, we're going to have to amend that statement I just gave, because we are going way, way, way beyond 45 years. So these individuals represent the strong commitment of this agency staff system-wide. I, along with my fellow board members and Executive Director Brian Collier, express our deepest gratitude for their continued service. During the months of May and June 2023, 79 employees attained 25 years of service. 34 employees attained 30 years of service. 12 employees attained 35 years of service. 10 employees attained 40 years of service. 1 employee attained 50 years of service. Wow. And you're thinking, I'm going to stop. No. And 1 employee attained 55 years of service. Wow. I was talking about this with fellow board member Dr. Burrow, and we were both 1 year old when that person started with the agency. Today, I would like to individually recognize the employees that have attained over 40 years for their dedication and service. First, Curtis Dale Bitts began his employment with the state of Texas in May of 1983 when he was hired by the Texas Department of Public Safety. Mr. Bitts completed the DPS Training Academy in August 1983 and served as a state trooper until December 1992 when he promoted to investigator in the DPS Narcotics Service, which is now the DPS Criminal Investigation Division, CID. In May of 2010, Curtis promoted to CID Lieutenant in the Tyler DPS office, and on August 31st, 2015, Curtis retired after 32 years of service with DPS. Curtis's dedication to public service continued in February of 2016 when he was hired by the Texas Board of Criminal Justice, Office of the Inspector General, TBCJ, OIG, assigned to the Michael Unit in Palestine as a criminal investigator. Curtis's determination and enthusiasm for proactive investigations has had a direct impact by stopping contraband from being introduced into the Michael Unit as well as other units across the state. Curtis has gained the highest level of respect and admiration from his co-workers and supervisors. Curtis's 40 years of service shows his commitment and dedication to the great state of Texas. Next, Sergeant Anthony C. Miles began his career with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice on February 28, 1983 at Wallace Pack 2 Unit in Navasota, Texas as a Correctional Officer 1. By 1991, he promoted to the Security Threat Group, STG, officer at the PAC 2 unit, later renamed the OL Luther unit. In 1994, Mr. Miles became the STG sergeant at the Luther unit. He remained in this role for the next 22 years until his retirement on April 30th, 2016. Sergeant Miles's retirement was short-lived as he returned to the agency on October 17th, 2016 as a correctional officer at the Luther unit. With dedication and determination, Sergeant Miles was able to promote back to STG sergeant within a few months. In October 2021, Sergeant Miles transferred to the Wallace Pack unit, where he remains today. For over 30 years, Sergeant Miles has played a valuable role in the agency, always willing and ready to step in and assist when needed, going above and beyond, constantly exceeding expectations. Sergeant Miles is the definition of TBCJ core values. In 2022, Sergeant Miles was named Supervisor of the Year. When not at work, Sergeant Miles is a father of two and a full-time caregiver for his sister, Miss Johnson. Miss Johnson was an officer at the PAC unit for over 20 years until she fell ill, and her brother immediately stepped in to take care of her. Next, Officer Hector F. Castro began his career with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice in March of 1983, assigned to Hospital Galveston in Galveston, Texas. Officer Castro worked every shift and duty post on the unit, from escorting inmates to supervising inmates in the clinic. He promoted to the mailroom supervisor in March 2000 and held that position until his retirement in 2005. His retirement was short-lived as he returned to the agency in August 2005 and was assigned to the Terrell unit, where he climbed through the rankings of Correctional Officer, Laundry Manager 3, and lastly, Sergeant. He returned to Hospital Galveston in June of 2012, and after a few short months was selected for a transportation position at the Carroll Young unit, where he remains today. Mr. Castro enjoys volunteering his time with the Alley Theater and the Hobby Center for Performing Arts. He sang in a church choir before Hurricane Ike and is currently looking for a new church choir to join. He spends time with his mother, sisters, nieces, and nephews, and would like to mention his nephew who graduated from West Point. Thank you for your service. Officer Joe L. Gambrell began his career with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice on June 7, 1982, at the Ferguson unit in Midway, Texas. Mr. Gambrell worked as a correctional officer at the Ferguson unit until June 1987 before transferring to the Byrd unit to continue his career as a correctional officer. He then returned to the Ferguson unit where he worked for several years before promoting to sergeant at the Huntsville Walls unit in 1996. Officer Gambrell held this position until his decision to retire from the agency in May of 2012. His retirement was short-lived as he returned to work in November 2012 to the Huntsville unit's Parole and Discharge Department as a part-time correctional officer. Officer Gambrell is a true family man with 5 children, Tamika, Tiffany, Christy, Joe Jr., and Joseph. Officer Gambrell and his wife Patricia have accomplished what every parent dreams of, to watch their children graduate from college, become successful, and allow them to become grandparents. When Officer Gambrell is not working at the Huntsville unit, he is spending time with Patricia and watching, what else, the Dallas Cowboys with his family. Officer Doug D. Phillips began his career with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice in March 1983 at the Cofield Unit. Officer Phillips promoted through the correctional ranks to captain at multiple units within the agency before deciding to retire in October 2005. Officer Phillips returned to the agency as a lieutenant at the Cofield Unit in March 2006. Since his return to the agency, he has held several positions to include field sergeant at the Beto Unit, training sergeant at the Region 2 Training Academy, and kennel sergeant for Region 6 before accepting his current position as the kennel assistant for the Cofield Unit. Officer Phillips has 2 sons, both of whom work for the agency. One son holds a position as a laundry manager, while the other works in transportation at Region 2. Officer Phillips' wife also has a passion for the agency as the nurse manager for UTMB at the Beto unit. Officer Phillips always displays a great attitude and is a mentor to his fellow co-workers. Officer Phillips's experience and knowledge of the agency makes him an asset to the agency and the Cofield unit. Officer Willis M. King started his career with the agency as a Correctional Officer 1 on June 15, 1972, at the Ferguson Unit in Midway, Texas, where he remained until 1976 when he transferred to the Huntsville Unit as a Correctional Officer 2. In August 1978, Officer King left the state, but then returned in September 1989 when he was assigned to the Windham Unit. After 2 years, Officer King transferred back to the Huntsville Unit, where he retired as a Correctional Officer 5 in August 2004. Officer King did not stay retired long and returned to the Huntsville Unit in October 2004, where he remains today. Officer King is a well-rounded person that loves to work out and tinker with computers and carpentry. On his days off, you'll find him riding his motorcycle or cruising in his Corvette. With his vast knowledge of the agency and the Huntsville Unit, he provides a positive workspace for his co-workers and other staff. Officer Edmund B. Hagens began his TDCJ career in May 1983 at the Ferguson Unit in Midway, Texas. In 1986, Officer Hagens transferred to the Goree Unit in Huntsville, where he remained until his retirement in August 2004. Officer Hagens' retirement was brief, and he returned to the agency in November 2004. In 2012, Officer Hagens made the transition to the Region 1 Contraband Interdiction Team, where he continues to be an asset to the agency. Officer Hagens and his wife Christy have 5 children: Brandon, Eric, Lauren, Joshua, and Jordan, and 2 grandchildren. His hobbies include playing dominoes, fishing, and shopping at Bath and Body Works. Officer, I'm not sure. Really? That's a hobby? All right. Officer Hagens is one of the kindest people you'll ever meet. He always greets you with a smile and a hug. Officer Hagens loves working and being a part of the Region 1 Contraband Interdiction Team. He likes no job done without him, whether he is on or off duty. Eugene L. Perry started with the agency as a correctional officer at the Wynn Unit on January 19, 1983. He worked 13 years as a correctional officer at Wynn before promoting to an individual specialist at the Wynn sticker plant on January 31st, 1996. Mr. Perry retired as an industrial specialist 3 there on January 31st, 2012. Mr. Perry enjoyed working with all his co-workers, so he came back to work at what is now called Wynn Graphics, formerly the Wynn sticker plant, July 2nd, 2012. Mr. Perry transferred into the Wynn license plate factory in 2014. Today, Mr. Perry is the production supervisor over the personalized license plate inspection area at Wynn License Plate Factory. So he's the one who should be able to get me my Dallas Cowboys license plate.
Absolutely.
He is a role model for all of his co-workers. He works hard, takes pride in his work, and expects only the best out of co-workers and inmates in his work area. Eugene Perry is a huge asset to Wynn License Plate, Texas Correctional Industries, and the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Eugene Perry's dedication to TCI and Wynn License Plate will be remembered for many years. Mr. Perry has been married for 29 years and has 2 sons and 4 stepchildren. Mr. Perry enjoys horseback riding and participates in the Prairie View Trail Ride for the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo every year. He also enjoys hunting, fishing, and being outdoors. Next is Manuel Agavnavel, or Mr. A.G., thank you. Mr. A.G., pronounced A.G. as his friends call him, started his career with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice as a correctional officer at Ramsey 3 Unit in 1983. A.G. went to work in the Ramsey 3 Unit field office in 1985 and then was promoted to Agricultural Specialist 1 at Ramsey 1 Unit over field crops in 1989. He promoted to Agriculture Specialist 2 over edible crops at Ramsey 1 Unit in 1994. In 2003, Mr. A.G. was promoted to Agriculture Specialist 4 over field crops at the Wayne Scott Unit. From 2004 to 2016, Mr. A.G. was the Maintenance Supervisor 2, Combine Department for the Agribusiness, Land, and Minerals Division. In 2016, he started his current position at Southern Region Freight Transportation as an Equipment Operator 3. Mr. A.G. is currently the heavy haul truck driver and one of our most hardworking and dependable employees. Mr. A.G. has been married for 43 years. He has 3 sons and 5 grandchildren. Next, Carlton F. Hazelwood. I never knew his first name was Carlton. I just thought he was chicken farmer Hazelwood, but it's Carlton. Who knew? Began his extensive career with the TBCJ in January 1983 at the Wainwright Unit as a correctional officer, then promoted to sergeant in January 1984. In June 1984, CF transitioned to the role as livestock manager at the TBCJ Agriculture Headquarters, then promoted to program supervisor of all livestock and packing plants in 2002. In March 2005, he was promoted to Director of Agriculture, Land, and Minerals, and in September 2009 was promoted to Director of the Manufacturing and Logistics Division until his retirement in 2013. At the 2008 Governor's Criminal Justice Volunteer Services Award, CF received the TBCJ Employee Volunteer Award for his many years of volunteer ministry work at the Wainwright Unit. In February 2014, Mr. Hazelwood returned to the agency and was tasked with overseeing the implementation of the agency core values program, and in 2016, he assumed a position overseeing training in the Leadership Development Department in Correctional Training. CF Hazelwood was named Deputy Director of Religious Services in October 2020. Mr. Hazelwood served in the United States Marines, thank you for your service, and has a and holds 2 bachelor's and master's from the Dallas Theological Seminary and an honorary doctorate from Therapon Theological Seminary. He has served as a pastor for 38 years and the senior pastor of the Fellowship of Huntsville Church for 26 years. Mr. Hazelwood has been married to Kathy for 45 years, and they share 2 sons, 2 daughters, and 10 grandchildren, all under 10 years old. In addition to spending time with his family, CF enjoys fishing, hunting, and raising poultry, so he should be called chicken farmer, and livestock on his ranch. Officer Gary L. Medunia began his career with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice on July 5, 1972, assigned to the Central Unit in Sugar Land, Texas. After just 4 months, Mr. Medunia was promoted to the Field Squad. In July of 1982, he was promoted to Kennel Sergeant at the Central Unit, where he responded to approximately 180 requests for tracking dogs to apprehend escaped felons. He had several successful captures before retiring from the agency on August 31st, 2004. During his retirement, Officer Medunia obtained the Peace Officer license from the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Officer Standards and Education from the Gus George Law Enforcement Academy. Officer Medunia returned to the agency in August of 2005, where he remained at the Central Unit until closing in 2011. Once the unit was closed, Officer Medunia was reassigned to the Region 3 Director's Office as a Region 3 K-9 handler for cell phones and narcotics detection, where he remains today. Officer Medunia's hobbies include fishing and hunting. He also spends time on his property raising cattle and fixing fences. Officer Medunia enjoys spending time with his wife, 3 children, 6 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren, with 1 on the way. Although this is just a glimpse of a long career, Mr. Medunia has garnered great respect from this agency, fellow co-workers, and for the 50 years of service he has provided to the state of Texas. And then finally, Robert Bob Moore began his career in November of 1967, which is before I was even walking, probably not even crawling, with the Texas Department of Corrections. 1967, you heard that right. His career has been defined by positions at the Ferguson Unit, where he was a custodial officer, sergeant, and lieutenant before promoting to Special Services and later the State Classification Committee, of which he became the vice chairman in 1990. In 1993, he promoted to the Assistant Director of Classification Operations and retired from that position in January of 2000. He returned to the agency in August of that same year as a program specialist in executive administration, where he continues to focus on capacity and immigration issues and serves as an agency historian. Mr. Moore has served as the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Office of Enforcement and Removal Operations Houston liaison for all foreign-born inmates in state prisons and jails since 1996. In recognition of his support and commitment to furthering their mission, he was awarded the 2019 Exemplary Law Enforcement Partnership Award. His efforts in cooperation with ERO have enhanced public safety and greatly contributed to the mission of both ERO and TBCJ. A native of Reagan, Texas, in Falls County, Mr. Moore attended Sam Houston State University to further his education with a criminology degree. He and his wife, Linda, married in 1969 and have continued to live in the Huntsville area. He has spent much time fishing, enjoys reading, and in restoring a 67 Pontiac GTO. Well, that's as old as when he started at TBCJ. Many things have changed during his employment, but he has noted that the most prominent change he's witnessed has been in the classification process. Mr. Moore is highly respected. His wealth of knowledge and dedication to the success of the agency are invaluable. I would like to add the names of these employees that will be submitted for inclusion in the official minutes of the board meeting. The Texas Board of Criminal Justice congratulates each of these employees and thanks you for the unwavering loyalty and dedication to the citizens of Texas. As a symbol of our appreciation, each of you will receive a board certificate along with a personal letter of gratitude. The next agenda yes.
May I say a few words, please?
Yes, of course.
Thank you so much for this report. This is one item that I always look forward to at our board meeting, and I personally can relate to each of them. And I never knew that Mr. Hazelwood's initials stand for chicken farmer.
It's amazing what you learn in board meetings.
Exactly. That's why one of my favorite verses is 1 Corinthians 8:2. Those who think they know something do not know yet what they ought to know. So now I know that Mr. Hazelwood is a chicken farmer. But thank you so much for this report. I always look forward to your report on all these outstanding people.
Thank you for your kind words, Ambassador. The next agenda topic covers consent items. Are there any amendments, objections, or abstentions to the proposed consent items? Hearing none, the consent items posted for this meeting's agenda will stand approved. The next item on the agenda will be a report from the TBCJ Executive Director. Mr. Collier, I understand you have 2 topics for us today. If you are ready, you may proceed.
Thank you, Chairman O'Daniel. I'd first like to begin with a legislative update. The 88th regular legislative session is now complete and proved to be the most successful legislative session in our agency's history. The funding decisions made by the House, the Senate, and legislative leadership will help our agency make unprecedented improvements over the next 2 years. These funding decisions included continued funding for the correctional officer 15% pay increase approved in 2022, pay raises for all state employees of 5% this year and 5% next year. This raise includes a stipulation that the raise will be a 5% or minimum of $3,000 and the first leg of the raise will begin in July, not the traditional September as the fiscal year begins. The $3,000 minimum means that many of our employees will actually receive more than a 5% raise based on the amount that they currently earn. We also received correctional health care funding in the amount of $208 million, which included pay increases for correctional managed health care staff. We received all of our requested funding for adult probation that also provided operating funds and pay increases for their staff. This also included funding for the $13 million refund rider, which essentially is going away with the $13 million infusion, and that refund rider will no longer be in our future. We received funding for the increased cost of operating our private contract facilities. We also received funding for 3 of our privately operated facilities, the Bell, Diboll, and Estes units. That funding was moved to our operational budget, and the Correctional Institutions Division will assume operation of these facilities effective September 1st. We also received funding for the increased cost of Takumi contracts to provide services to probation and parolees with special needs. We received $35 million to build a TBCJ training facility that will serve as the hub for our correctional, parole, probation, and leadership training. $19.3 million in capital equipment replacement, which will replace several hundred items of our capital equipment. $42.1 million for vehicle replacements. $7.8 million for computer replacements, which will move us from a 10-year replacement cycle to a 6-year replacement cycle. We received $6.3 million for video surveillance system updates and a contracted maintenance program for our comprehensive video systems. We received $3.9 million to fund 12 additional Office of Inspector General unit positions to help with the ongoing battle with contraband. Also received $3 million to fund 12 positions for the Office of Inspector General for the apprehension of parolees who cut their ankle monitoring device. Additionally, $1 million in vehicle replacements for the Office of Inspector General. We received $23.9 million for body cameras for our uniformed staff on our maximum security facilities, $4.4 million to replace radios, repeaters, and provide mobile radio repeaters and bring all of our radio equipment up to the current technology. a total of $280 million for major repair and restoration projects, which included a new base amount of $105 million. As you may recall, we have never had base funding in this item. Thus, the base funding being added this session and hopefully going forward is a huge issue. $8.9 million for cybersecurity and mainframe modernization staff to help us as we complete the SITS project. $7.4 million for staff to assist in the transition of the centralized accounting and payroll system, otherwise known as CAPS, which will change our personnel and our business processes through that new system. Overall, Chairman and members, we received over $1.5 billion in new funding for our agency. To say it was a successful session is truly an understatement. I'd like to thank our leadership team for their hard work this session. Many of our division directors provided testimony, and each of them did a fantastic job. I'd like to give a special thank you to Kate Blifford, Danny Kelly, Jason Clark, Ron Steffa, Rebecca Waltz, Terry Putnam, Oscar Mendoza, Tiffany Kent, Brittany Skanes, Shannon Davini, and Tina Rodriguez for all of their hard work and sacrifice this session. All of the travels and all the late hours takes a toll, but their efforts have helped us to make real milestones in this agency. I'd now like, Chairman, to provide an update on staffing. Correctional officer staffing continues to be our agency's top priority, and during the month of May, we hired just over 600 correctional officers and anticipate hiring over 600 again this month in June. We continue to have significant staffing shortages in other areas of the agency to include parole, reentry, human resources, and rehabilitative programs. Our division directors are working closely with Mr. Steffa and our finance team on reorganizations that will help increase pay levels for some critical positions by deleting positions that we essentially cannot fill and utilizing those funds to pay for the salary increases. These changes, combined with the approved pay increases, should help us make some real progress in filling key positions in the agency. I'll continue to keep you updated on staffing and in the agency in the future, and certainly stand ready for any questions, Chairman, and that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Collier. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Comment, and I know I join you, Mr. Chair and Vice Chair and the rest of the board in thanking the members of the Texas Legislature for recognizing that we have an administration in place that is asking for appropriate amounts of additional funding over and above what's been funded in the past. And the fact that there was such success on these additional items that have been funded is not only a great credit to the thought at the Texas Legislature, but also of our administrative leadership and staff in structuring those requests in a way that they met with such approval once presented to the legislature. So I know I join everybody on the board in thanking everyone involved in this process for helping to get our agency on the right track for the future.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. The next item on the agenda is the chairman's report. Good morning. It is great to be in the city of El Paso. I am pretty sure that this is officially the first board meeting we have had in the Mountain Time Zone, so I like the extra hour. I can understand why many Texans believe this is one of the best kept secrets in the Lone Star State, with its desert landscapes, glorious sunsets that we experienced last night, and majestic mountains. El Paso is pretty easy to fall in love with. Before I begin my remarks, I wanted to share a few interesting facts about El Paso. The city has the nickname Sun City. I have absolutely no idea why. And that's because it's sunny here approximately 300 days a year. But before it had that name, the city was known as the six-shooter capital. With the arrival of the railroads in the 1880s, El Paso was the destination of Wild West newcomers, causing the city to become a violent and wild boomtown known as the six-shooter capital because of its lawlessness. Today, El Paso is actually one of the safest cities in the country. Not far from here is El Paso Street. It is the city's first and oldest street. El Paso Street has borne the footsteps of Wyatt Earp, Pat Garnett, Pat Garrett, Billy the Kid, President William Howard Taft, and Pancho Villa, and was the scene of the infamous 4 dead and 5 seconds gunfight in 1881. Even the hotel we are in has some notable history. The Plaza Hotel opened in 1930 as a Hilton by hotel mogul Conrad Hilton. 2 decades later, 17-year-old Elizabeth Taylor visited El Paso before her wedding to Conrad Hilton Jr. and stayed in the penthouse of this hotel. All right, enough history. On a serious note, it's a real pleasure to spend a few moments recognizing some outstanding employees. The people of this area are hard-working individuals. When you look at our staffing rates, the Sanchez State Jail has one of the highest staffing percentages in our state. It's further proof that El Paso is a great place to work and live. And today I want to highlight a few of those individuals who are getting the job done. First is Chaplain Juan Lucero. And he says this about being a TBCJ chaplain. It's very rewarding and challenging. We have a wide open door for ministry and a very professional and godly leadership that constantly encourages us to grow and excel. Chaplain Lucero serves a staff and inmate population of about 1,100 people at the Sanchez State Jail. He is a minister in good standing with the West Texas District of the Assemblies of God and an ordained minister with Roberto Garcia Ministries. He has been educated in theology, church history, and ministerial duties with the Victory School of the Bible and the Assemblies of God Global University. Chaplain Lucero has been a minister for more than 34 years and has held many positions within the church, including senior pastor, associate pastor, youth pastor, children's pastor, as well as the director of a Christian-oriented alcohol and drug treatment program and missionary evangelist. He has held services, crusades, and events in Texas, California, Colorado, New Mexico, Central America, and Mexico. Chaplain Lucero has been married for 31 years to his wife, Irasima. They have 2 children, Yesenia and Juan Miguel. When he is not ministering at the Sanchez State Jail, Chaplain Lucero enjoys traveling and woodworking. He also has a coin collection and other memorabilia he's put together over the years. C.F. Hazelwood, Director of Religious Services for TBCJ, said, Chaplain Lucero is an efficient chaplain who is on top of his duties. His unit capacity may be smaller than others, but his programming at the Sanchez State Jail will rival any chapel in the agency. And Chaplain Lucero, if you will come up and we will get a picture at the seal. Our next outstanding employee is Danny Carrillo. A 15-year career with the agency has served Danny Carrillo well. He is a Correctional Officer 5 at the Sanchez State Jail, currently assigned to the Armory. Officer Carrillo began his TDCJ career at the Lynall Unit in January 2008. In 2013, he transferred to the Sanchez State Jail, a self-motivated employee who demonstrates an excellent work ethic. Danny takes the time to fully understand the agency's policies and procedures. He's very organized and displays a keen eye to detail. He consistently shows his initiative and quickly adapts to any changes. Officer Carrillo enjoys spending time with his wife, Lupita, and their 5 children, Danny Jr., Natalie, Kimberly, and twins, Layla and Elijah. Officer Carrillo also likes to travel, attend Elijah's basketball and football games, grills and works on projects around the house and in the yard. His favorite sports teams are the Chicago Bulls in the NBA and the Las Vegas Raiders in the NFL. Well, no one's perfect. He truly exhibits the core ideals of family and unity. Officer Carrillo, and I had the pleasure of getting to visit with him yesterday, and really this description doesn't do credit to him and his professionalism. Officer Carrillo, come on up for a picture. And let me just say before I continue, if other people that I'm going to recognize today, if your family members are here too, I mean, please feel free to come on up for a picture. Our next is Officer Rebecca Naranjo. Some sage advice from a relative led Rebecca Naranjo to her job with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. At the time, she was working at a cotton gin in Plainview. Her brother, Ricky Asensio, said she needed to come work with the agency because she would not have to be outdoors so much. He worked at the Form B unit and told her how rewarding it was. She took his advice and began her career with the agency in April 2012 at the Tulia unit, now the Meckler unit, as a correctional officer. 2 years later, she transferred to Sanchez, where she now works with the Community Service Squad. A highly dedicated employee, Officer Naranjo travels daily from Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, and across the international border to work at the facility. She is a team player who is always ready to lend a hand, reliable, professional, and knowledgeable are just some of the adjectives that describe her consistent work ethic. She also shows a constant desire to improve and pushes herself to new and greater heights. When she is not at the Sanchez State Jail, she enjoys spending time with her husband Israel, whom she has been married to for 18 years, and their daughters Cynthia and Bianca. They enjoy going to the movies or outings at a nearby park where she will grill her favorite chicken dishes, and her favorite sports team is the Dallas Cowboys, not, I repeat, not the Las Vegas Raiders. Her brother Ricky would be so proud of her recognition today. He worked for the agency for 16 years. Sadly, he passed away in December 2022 at the age of 47 from colon cancer. Officer Naranjo, if you will come up for a picture. There are some employees who are an influence on others through their hard work and dedication to their job, as well as their attitude about how things are going in their career and in their life. Valerie Dominguez, who is a Correctional Officer 5 and Field Training Officer at the Sanchez State Jail, is a prime example. Officer Dominguez began her TDCJ career in September 2003 at the Lynol Unit. In April 2009, she transferred to the Sanchez State Jail. As a field training officer, she always exemplifies the agency's core values of perseverance, courage, commitment, and integrity. Her positive attitude has helped uplift the morale of the unit and those who work closely with her every day. She has been a positive influence on the unit's newly assigned correctional officers and non-security staff. She has been so influential, in fact, that her 21-year-old son, Orion, has followed in her footsteps and joined the agency in February 2022 as a correctional officer who is also assigned to the Sanchez State Jail. Officer Dominguez also has a daughter named Athena. She enjoys spending time with her and Orion by going to the movies or dining out at their favorite restaurants in the El Paso area. Officer Dominguez also likes to travel, with some of her favorite destinations being New Orleans, New Mexico, and California. Officer Dominguez is a great role model, not only to her children, but also to everyone who interacts with her at the Sanchez State Jail. Officer Dominguez, if you could come up for a picture. Oh, and it was brought to my attention, Pastor. I don't know, Pastor, if you had any relatives, because we could retake a picture with you and your relative and get that done. Well, yeah, let's just wait till I get the next person in, and then we'll get you in too. If I can find my glasses, that is. All right. If you are someone who has been fortunate enough to cross paths with Cornelio Camacho, you know that he is a special person who will do just about anything for anyone, no matter the circumstances. Officer Camacho began his TDCJ career on September 16, 1996 at the Lynol Unit. 6 years later, he promoted to sergeant, a position he would hold for 5 years. In 2007, he left the agency for a short time and returned 2 years later to the Fort Stockton Unit, where he supervises the community squad. These are the inmates who go out into Fort Stockton to do projects such as sweeping up the streets after the annual 4th of July parade or hanging Christmas lights in the downtown area during the holidays. Officer Camacho has made a lasting impact on many of his co-workers and fellow employees at the unit. He always has a smile on his face and maintains a positive outlook while on duty. When he is not at the unit, Officer Camacho likes to clean and maintain firearms that his co-workers and friends bring to him, as well as his own. He also enjoys watching his favorite sports teams on TV, the Dallas Cowboys, the Texas Rangers, and the Houston Astros. Here's a tip. There's nothing better than cleaning firearms while watching a Dallas Cowboys game. He has a daughter named Stephanie and a grandson named Tristan. He also has a stepdaughter named Nicole. His partner for the last 20 years has been Patricia Camacho. Come on up, Officer Camacho. And Chaplain Lucero just wanted to point out that he's a lifelong Cowboys fan as well, so I didn't want to let that slip. And full of the Spirit, too, Pastor Miles wants to add. Parole officer Andre Chavez is someone you can depend on. No matter what time of the day or night a need arises, he answers the call and handles the task at hand with efficiency and professionalism. He is the region gang officer and has developed excellent relationships with multiple law enforcement agencies in the area. Officer Chavez came to TBCJ in August 2017. Prior to that, he was a juvenile probation officer for 16 years. He has been instrumental in facilitating gang training, not only for the region, but also throughout the state of Texas. The Texas Anti-Gang Task Force in El Paso has even provided him an office when he is at their site. He takes on the role of mentoring new parole officers and assists them by providing helpful tips and feedback on their work. Officer Chavez is professional when expressing the ideas and is always prepared with a solution to the problem being discussed. He epitomizes the teamwork concept. He works to build rapport and improve morale in the office and is probably best known for answering the phone with the words, "It's a great day at TBCJ." No word if he also puts on a sweater and sneakers when he does that. When he is not at the office or in the field, Officer Chavez enjoys spending time with his family. He has been married to his wife, Helena, since 2002, and they have 3 children, Olivia, AJ, and Jack. He spends most of his free time coaching AJ, who has taken an interest in boxing, and Jack, who enjoys karate and track. And he's also the best guide I've had to at-home visits when we're out touring with the parole officers. So thanks for being my tour guide yesterday. Come on up for a picture. Should I start off with, "It's a great day at the board meeting"? All right, maybe not, all right. Juan, Danny, Rebecca, Valerie, Cornelio, and Andre, let me say thank you for all that you do. Let's give them another big round of applause. The next item on the agenda is a report from the presiding officer for the Judicial Advisory Council, Judge Alma Trejo. Thank you for joining us today. If you are ready, you may begin.
Good morning, Chairman O'Daniel, members of the board, and Director Collier. My name is Alma Trejo. I am the judge for El Paso County Criminal Court Number 1. I am grateful for the opportunity to represent the Judicial Advisory Council and our chairwoman, District Court Judge Rose Reyna. Welcome to El Paso. We are excited to host a meeting of the Texas Board of Criminal Justice, and I hope you had an opportunity to enjoy the hospitality of our beautiful city. On behalf of the Judicial Advisory Council, thank you for your support of the community supervision system during this past legislative session. Because of this board support and approval of TBCJ's legislative appropriations request, probation departments had an unprecedented infusion of funding by the state legislature. The 88th Texas legislature provided community supervision and correction departments more than $139 million above the FY 2022 and 2023 funding levels. Most notably, this funding provides $64.8 million for much-needed pay increases for probation staff across the state, $47.7 million to support community supervision and correction departments' corrections and programming, and $13.6 million to assist with an increased community supervision population. In addition to community supervision and corrections departments funding, and included in diversion program grant funding is a $1.5 million increase for battering intervention and prevention programs funding that is awarded to statewide nonprofits to serve the justice involved population. As recognized by the legislature, the probation population has been increasing. Across the state, courts are diligently working to decrease backlogs caused by the pandemic. El Paso was one of the 2 counties that we came out of COVID without a backlog. And we can attribute that to the collaborative nature that we have here in El Paso. When we were notified back March of, I still remember it, March, the week before spring break of March of 2020, and everybody I'm sure remembers that week, we met with all our collaborative partners, which included the commissioners. We're very fortunate that here we have a very great relationship with everybody. We met with the county commissioners, the sheriff's department, the district attorney's office, public defenders, and pretrial services, all the clerks, and especially community service department. We brainstormed and we figured out how are we going to continue working. There's no way we can stop working. So what we came up with was an incentive called the virtual police center. The community service department, Ms. Maggie Morales, provided not only the building, the equipment, and they manned the center. And throughout COVID, we continued working on criminal cases virtually. So we are very proud of that incentive. We continued that service also to the inmates. We never stopped taking pleas from the county jail. So, and we continue to do that virtually, which saves money. We are not transporting inmates anymore, and it also for security reasons. So we're very fortunate for that, and we're very proud of that. I'm going to take the opportunity to brag a little bit about the El Paso judiciary. We're very innovative, and one of the reasons that we were so successful during COVID is because we had already implemented paperless procedures. We had stopped that back in 2015. People no longer had to literally drive to the courthouse to drop off papers to be signed by judges. So that made a very smooth transition into the virtual world. So one of the other things we're very proud of is we've had our judicial metrics. We're data driven, and our judicial metrics are posted on our county website. So anybody in this public can find out how well a court is doing. And one of the other things that we're very proud of is we're probably one of the few counties that has fully implemented Senate Bill 6. And for those of you that are not aware of it, it was a legislation from the 87th legislative session, which basically mandated that all judges, before you set a bond, that you truly know the history, the criminal history. And before that, we were relying on DAs to basically tell us what they had in their past. Now, and at first I was a naysayer. I was one of those people who's like, oh my God, this is gonna create so much work. I love it. Before any bond hearing, I read the public service report, and it's not just the history in Texas, it's history throughout the US. So every judge now has the capacity to know a person's criminal history before every bond hearing. And I'm very proud to say that we're probably one of the few counties that has fully implemented Senate Bill 6. And once again, I need to stress the fact that all this, we wouldn't be able to shine without our partners. During the next Judicial Advisory Council, the field will be celebrating National Pretrial Probation and Parole Supervision Week, which will be held July 16th through the 22nd. I hope you will join us as we celebrate over 5,500 community correction professionals around the state, which work hard to keep our communities safe. Similar to other criminal justice professionals, probation officers, program and state and facility staff are often unsung heroes who passionately devote their lives to improving the lives of others. It is often because of their dedication, we have fewer victims in our communities and more productive citizens to call neighbors. At the next board meeting, we look forward to sharing some of the ways probation staff are celebrated and recognized for their vital roles in this community. And I also want to take the time to tell you that without our community service department and Ms. Maggie Morales, there is no way we could have done what we did, what we accomplished during the COVID years. The Judicial Advisory Council remains available to assist this board in any way possible. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me, Judge Reyna, or any member of the Judicial Advisory Council if you have any questions or if we can be any assistance in any way. I have been honored to present before this board this morning, and I am available to answer any questions you may have.
Well, thank you very much, Judge Trejo, for a very knowledgeable and enlightening report. And I just want to personally commend you on the innovation efforts that you just described. I mean, that's really remarkable. Yes, we're like nodding, going, oh my goodness, I can't believe they did that, and then they did that. Are there any questions or comments from other board members?
Just another brief comment, Judge. Thank you for being here today, and consistently with my earlier comments, I think that this increased funding for community supervision programs reflects a recognition by state leadership and our legislature about the importance of those programs. So we very much appreciate your leadership here, as the chairman was saying, in the local criminal justice system, but we also appreciate your leadership in terms of the JAC, in terms of the community supervision program statewide. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your report. Oh, wait.
I just appreciate you having, you're down here in El Paso, you have a great relationship with one another, your county.
Yes, we do.
That's what's gonna make it happen all over the state. So
Exactly.
keep giving us the example. And can you call some of these people in other counties and let them Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
The next item on the agenda is a presentation from the Office of the Independent Ombudsman, which will be presented by Director Brian Patrick. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Patrick. If you are ready, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman O'Daniel, board members, Mr. Collier, good morning. The Office of the Independent Ombudsman, we're proud to present an update to the board on our activities that we've encumbered over the past 27 months. We'd like to start off with a little historical perspective on the office. Traditionally, prior to the appointment of the Independent Ombudsman in March of 2021, the Ombudsman's office was subordinate to TBCJ. There was perceptions of independence, neutrality, and the objectivity of the office, and there was some overload when it comes to approach and workload. And as we know, in corrections and law enforcement work, sometimes perception is reality to people. The start process for the complaint process prior was that the complaint was received. The complaint would be sent to the unit, and the unit would conduct an investigation. They would send the response back to the ombudsman's office. They would then type out a response to the complainant and send it out. We started a new approach after the independent ombudsman's office was created, and in October of 2022, after it was voted to become the independent ombudsman's office, obviously it was subordinate to the board, and it was independent of TBCJ. We report directly to the chairman on a day-to-day basis and the board overall. Although TDC does approve the budget and manage the budget, it is something which is day-to-day completed by the chairman of the board. The Board of Criminal Justice obviously has 5 different reporting divisions, one of them being the independent ombudsman now, which reports directly to the Board of Criminal Justice, moving it out under the TDC umbrella. The restructure and transformation of the office included allocated positions for individual staff. We had some positions that we converted. We had some positions that we consolidated to create the office and to create a different change in staffing. We had existing staff. Everybody in the office, when it was created, had to reapply and re-interview for their jobs. 6 of the 13 current staff were retained. We had 3 positions vacant, and of that, we brought in extra people to fill the vacant positions. We had some positions that were converted. Some other positions were added during the way. And one of the processes that we've completed, and a lot of thanks to Vice Chairman Perryman, was the advocacy groups. We engage the advocacy groups from time to time. We have a virtual video call coming up in a few weeks with them because we want to find out what exactly are they hearing. If we're going to conduct a 360-degree assessment of our accountability and of how we're accomplishing our work, those are one of the obviously, one of the issues that we need to do is reach out to everybody to find out. And we found out from the past, speaking with the advocacy groups, that volume of complaints was a leading cause. And there was an open door policy for feedback that we now have. So we do like to engage everybody to find out. When we have calls that come in, we have people that want to question our processes, we explain to them our processes. We always tell them it's important that you understand. It's not always important that you agree, but that you understand the processes that we engage in. We try to make the work manageable. We can see in fiscal year 2020, the high information that I've been able to find, we had over 61,000 inquiries submitted to us. This resulted in a significant backlog. Most of these complaints, if not all, received some sort of attention. We tried to decrease that to fiscal year 2021. You can see we had about 35,000, and then the fiscal year 2022, just under 12,000. Some of the procedures that we implemented in order to decrease the volume was a consolidation of complaint categories. We have certain categories that we list each individual complaint. Some of the categories had multiple complaint codes. Some would be looked at, some wouldn't, in order to avoid a flow chart sort of procedure where we have to figure out what gets looked at and what don't. We consolidate them all into individual complaints by single category. We also made a model, if you could go back, please. I'm sorry. Got a little bit ahead. A model for assigning cases to the individual ombudsmans. This was something I had from my previous work. When a case comes into the courthouse, working for the judges previously, if it was a brand new case, it would get assigned to a judge on a rotational basis. It was completely arbitrary and random which one of the 10 judges received the case. However, once the case was received by a judge, any subsequent cases would get assigned to that same judge because of the knowledge that person would have of the complainant and any sort of extra needs that the person had, such as mental health treatment, maybe a veterans court referral, or some sort of mental health drug treatment. So that's something that we've done. We've decided that when a complaint comes in first, it gets a random assignment. After that, it goes to the same ombudsman so they can have an intricate knowledge of what happens. And one of the biggest hurdles that we had to overcome was we made sure that the inmate grievance process has to be completed. A lot of the grievances in the past would be submitted, and then the person during the grievance process would have their family reach out to the ombudsman's office, and then we would have 2 people, 2 agencies, 2 offices completing the same work. This is inefficient for an office that doesn't have unlimited resources, as most public service doesn't. We also completed a case handling manual for all the ombudsman staff. We wanted one ombudsman to complete the same exact procedures as the next one, whether the cases were similar or dissimilar. We also decided to rethink our processes. So we'd established a hierarchy of case types and triage accordingly. We want to make sure that life endangerment, safety issues get the ultimate priority, and then we prioritize them down as they come in. So our focus is on the most concerning issues receiving attention. And then the rest of those would be something that would either be referred to a different office or something that may have to go through the grievance procedure. Our investigative resources as an office of 10 ombudsman, our investigative resources are based on the impact and likelihood scenario. Here's a chart that we utilize in the office for the impact and likelihood. So the two questions we ask when a complaint comes in is how likely is it to have happened or have happened, and what is the impact if it does or if it did happen. We look at a chart and determine, okay, we may have one person who's saying that their life is in danger. However, the impact of that life endangerment is so great that even if the likelihood is low, the impact is high, that case gets attention. There are some other issues which are converse to that, which wouldn't get the attention, and it would have to go through the grievance process just because the impact, if it did happen, lost property, for example. The impact is low, it would not receive attention, it would have to go through the grievance process. We want to make sure that the work continues. We want to make sure that our office is productive and responsive, so we make sure that we have good relationships with our stakeholders. We want to make sure that we get the truth. We found through our endeavors that we want the truth, the Board of Criminal Justice wants the truth, and TDC wants the truth. When we conduct investigations, when we interview people, whether it be on the phone or in person, our ultimate goal is to find the truth. We also make sure that we have legislative inquiries that come in that we're responsive to. We've had some good results with legislative inquiries. We had an inmate that was alleging to have been injured during transportation that we looked into, and we found out that it really wasn't what it was. We responded to the legislative office, and we received good feedback on that. We've had some straight from the advocacy groups that we look into, and we've directly responded to them with our responses, and we've had good feedback on them. We've also had good ones with the individuals. A lot of people are receptive when we explain what goes on. As an office that deals a lot in public interactions, we, and as the board may know, we train pretty intensely on verbal judo. One of the things that we do is we ask, we don't tell, but we also tell them why we're doing it. And we found that pays great dividends, especially when you're explaining, we didn't think it happened, and here's why we didn't think it happened. And that goes a long way to people understanding what we did and why we came to the conclusion we did. We also have some examples that doesn't go too well. We've had some situations where people were not receptive to what we decided, didn't realize that the work that we had went into it was as comprehensive as it was, but had some complaints and some feedback. And I'm always open to engaging those people, to making sure that they are heard, because being heard as a human being and being attended to is very, very important. We believe in the office our credibility is paramount. If people don't believe what we do, right, there's really no purpose in our doing it. We have to have credibility. We also believe in the Mushin concept, which is something from verbal judo. It's reasonable, it's non-biased. We have a complaint that may come in from person X, and we find there's nothing to it. That person files another complaint next week. This is a brand new complaint. We don't take the last one that may have been exaggerated, may have been embellished, may not have, just may not have had anything there. The new one gets the same exact work and attention it would as if it was a brand new complaint. We also find that our quality of work is important. This is why we tell people what we did and how we came to the conclusion. We explain to them every minute of work that went into a process. We drive to the units. We conduct investigations in person. We've completed probably close to 60 unit visits at this point. We've gone out, we've interviewed the staff, we've interviewed the inmates, we've interviewed the complainants on the phone by virtual video calls. We want to make sure that people have that attention and they're able to tell exactly everything that they believe went into a situation. We do an adequate perspective via sampling. If we have a complaint on a certain row, we may take a housing roster of that row, and then we'll do a virtual sampling of who we're going to interview to find out if something did happen or if it didn't, if there are any witnesses or if there are not. So sampling is something that we engage in a lot in our office. There are some struggles to overcoming attitude and perceptions. That's always going to be ongoing, but those are something that we try to work towards. That's why we're always have an open door policy. People can always call me in my office. People have my cell phone. If I'm not there, they engage in the supervisors. If the supervisors don't give them what they need, then they are free to give them my cell phone. I engage in people every day, all day, to make sure that they receive the attention they need, because people want to be heard and they want to make sure that they're understood. So those are some of the ongoing perceptions that we have. But where do we go from here? This is a good question. It's been about 27 months now. We've had a 2-year get acquainted period. We've identified the key needs for the office, some personnel, some staffing, and we've identified some trends and some cycles at some of the units and some of the regions. I have a good, open line of communication with TDC executives. I frequently communicate with Mr. Lumpkin, Mr. Collier, Mr. Mendoza, Jason Clark. I have a great level of communication with them. They know they can always call me if they feel that something didn't rise to the level that we think it did. And conversely, they know that I can push back if I think something did rise to the level that we find that there is a substantiated complaint. So one of the things we've done is we've requested an efficiency audit to get better from Mr. Cerrito in 2024 to have them come in and give us an outside assessment as to where we can get better. We've assessed some staffing needs, some individual staffing needs that we're going to have in the office, and an ongoing assessment as we become more in depth, because our investigations now are going to units, conducting investigations, conducting personal interviews, looking at documentation. Sometimes it can take hours to look through the on-base program, read disciplinary cases and all the grievances that are associated with it, just to form a basis as to whether or not there may be some legitimacy to the complaint. So we are going to have an ongoing assessment of resources. Last one. And at this point, I conclude my presentation and I welcome any questions.
I just want to thank you for that very good report, and also just thank you for your efforts, because you are the founding director. You really have started from scratch on putting together this office, and I take very seriously the independent of the Office of the Independent Ombudsman, and I know you do as well, and I just want to compliment you and thank you for how you embody being independent. And yes, we have good lines of communication, but the thing is, when push comes to shove, you're going to stand your ground because you are independent. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Just a question, Mr. Patrick. What is the ballpark time frame from complaint received until you respond? I know it varies.
Yeah, there are a million variables with that, Pastor. All things being even, we get a complaint with something that is not really in depth, something that's not really something we can just look on the computer and look at documentation. It is generally about 30 days. I would say 30 days is a good rough estimate, and that is because we want to make sure we do due diligence. We have to look at all the documentation and speak to anybody that may be involved in it. Sometimes we get a complaint that says my son's being picked on. Okay, that might take a little longer because we have to figure out where he is, what location, when did this occur, who was there at the time, could have been moved. And there are some which are highly detailed, provide time, date, location, and witness names. That's going to allow us to move a little bit faster.
Thank you.
But also, we address every single complaint one way or the other, and we also respond to that person, and they know one way or the other.
That's correct, Judge. Our policy requires us to provide a response, whether we give them a lengthy investigation with a detailed report, or whether we tell them this is something that has to go through the inmate grievance process, or even I'm going to refer this to another division.
Okay.
By policy, they have to receive some response telling them an action taken.
Because I thought I heard you say in your presentation, most of the inquiries you get to, I wanted to make certain that
Yeah.
everything was being addressed and everything was being responded to.
Yes, by policy, yes.
And I just wanted to say, it's my understanding that you're going to be presenting an ACA very soon?
It is. Mr. Cerrito has taken me as a hostage, and we are going to present at ACA.
Well, once again, Texas gets to show off all of the really cool, innovative things
Yes.
we're doing, and your wonderful work, so
Yes,
I
thank
can't
you.
wait to see how that goes.
Yes, and Mr. Collier will be moderating that, so it would be great. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
looking forward to it.
Cool.
Thank you.
Again, thank you very much for your report. The next item on the agenda is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the purchases and contracts over $1 million. Chief Financial Officer Ron Steffa will be presenting today. Members of the board, I don't ordinarily vote unless it is to break a tie. However, my firm represents entities included in the purchases and contracts over $1 million. Therefore, I will not be taking action today on the purchases and contracts over $1 million. Mr. Steffa, you may proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman O'Daniel, board members, Mr. Collier. I'll be bringing 75 purchases for you today for your consideration and approval. They can be found on pages 21 through 29, it's behind tab G of your booklet. The first three are increases to the fiscal year 22-23 contracts for the Moore, Bell, and Diboll privately operated correctional centers due to increases in staffing expenditures. Item 4 is an increase to the fiscal year 22-23 contract for increased staffing expenditures at the Willacy State Jail. Items 5 through 11 are increases to the fiscal year 22-23 Texas Correctional Officer on Offenders with Medical or Mental Impairments, or TCUMI contracts. These are case management and continuity of care contracts with local mental health authorities for increases in operating and staffing expenditures. Items 12 and 13 are increases to the fiscal year 22-23 contracts with the University of Texas Medical Branch and the Texas Tech University Health Science Center for the provision of correctional managed health care services. This funding was provided through the supplemental appropriations process to cover the projected health care expenditures for the biennium for the two universities. Item 14 is an increase to the fiscal year 22-23 contract with Lee College for additional vocational expenditures. Item 15 is an increase to the fiscal year 23 contract for isolated soy protein used in the production of ground meat products due to an increase in usage. Item 16 is an increase in the fiscal year 23 food contract at the Keegan State Jail due to an increase in utilization. Item 17 is a fiscal year 23 purchase order for transport buses. Items 18 through 25 are increases to the fiscal year 23-26 design service contracts that provide architectural and design services for the agency's major repair projects. Item 26 is a fiscal year 24 purchase of modular panel systems used by the Texas Correctional Industries. Item 27 is a fiscal year 24 contract for radio frequency and GPS electronic monitoring systems for parolees. Item 28 is the fiscal year 24 purchase of swine feed premix. It's used to feed the swine herd. Item 29 is a fiscal year 24 contract for bleaching and pre-shrinking fabric produced at the Estelle Textile Mill. Item 30 is a fiscal year 24 contract for food service at the Keegan State Jail. Item 31 is for fiscal year 24 purchases of bulk fuels used at our fuel depots. And as noted, we are seeking a 10% variance to account for the fluctuations in pricing or usage. Item 32 is a fiscal year 24 purchase of cloth blend gray sheeting used to manufacture inmate clothing, sheets, and pillowcases. Item 33 is a fiscal year 24 purchase of John Deere tractor parts used in the maintenance and repair of farm equipment. Item 34 is a fiscal year 24 purchase of soybean meal used to produce livestock feed. Item 35 is a fiscal year 24 contract for AT&T cell phone equipment and service. Item 36 is a fiscal year 24 purchase of isolated soy protein used in the production of ground meat products. Item 37 is a fiscal year 24 purchase of cattle feed premix supplement used to feed the cattle herd. Item 38 is a fiscal year 24 purchase of metal aluminum coils used in the manufacture of license plates. Item 39 is a fiscal year 24 purchase of equipment and sheeting for the license plate production. Item 40 is a fiscal year 24 purchase of aluminum sign blanks used to manufacture highway signs. Item 41 is a fiscal year 24 purchase of microprismatic reflective sheeting, also used in the manufacturing of the highway signs. Item 42 is a fiscal year 24 purchase of FedEx delivery services. Item 43 is for the purchase of food items for inmate meals in fiscal year 24. An itemization for each category is provided for your information, and we are seeking a 10% variance to accommodate fluctuations in pricing or usage. Item 44 is for the purchases of commissary items for sale in the unit commissaries for fiscal year 24. It also provides an itemization by category for your information, and we are also seeking a 10% variance in this category to account for any changes in pricing or usage in the amounts sold. Item 45 is a fiscal year 24-25 contract for the delivery of natural gas at various prison facilities. And on this item, we're also seeking a 10% variance to account for any fluctuation in pricing or usage we have in natural gas. Items 46 through 59 are for fiscal year 24-25 contracts for the provision of residential and outpatient substance abuse treatment and aftercare services for inmates released from substance abuse felony punishment facilities, in-prison therapeutic communities, or referred to the Substance Abuse Counseling Program. Item 60 is the fiscal year 24-25 interagency contract with the Texas Health and Human Services Commission to transfer funds to provide for the state Medicare match for the Texas or for the Takumi services that are provided through those local mental health authority contracts. Items 61 through 75 are the fiscal year 24-25 Takumi contracts that provide for that case management and continuity of care services through the local mental health authorities. And that concludes my presentation and will be available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Steffa. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
So it's about the license plates. So we provide the funding for the materials to create license plates for the whole state of Texas. Is there then a reimbursement that comes from that, from the state general budget, or is that just one of the things that we do as a nice service for everybody in Texas?
Yes. We're appropriated the money for the raw materials for the manufacturing, and then through the Texas Correctional Industries, those are actually sold to the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles, and then that reimburses for those costs.
That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Members of the board, I also wish to abstain from voting as my firm represents several entities included in the purchases and contracts over $1 million.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. I think I heard.
Yeah, back to item 17 on the new transport buses. We've had a lot of discussion about possibly making some changes in our transport buses to enhance security. Will that be incorporated in the purchase of these buses?
Yes, ma'am. Those buses will also be fitted with the iRide system, which is the new camera system.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the purchases and contracts over $1 million as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made. It has been seconded by Dr. Burrow. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Please let the record show Eric Nichols and I abstain from voting on the purchases and contracts over $1 million. Thank you, Mr. Steffa. Our next item on the agenda is the Internals Audit Status Report. Director of Internal Audit, Chris Cerrito, will be presenting today. Mr. Cerrito, if you are ready, please proceed.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Collier, members, I have an update to your status report. Although I will hold Mr. Patrick hostage, I will not hold you hostage this morning. So first, Project 2306. That project has now moved into the draft report phase. Second, Project 23010 has now moved into the report writing phase. Third, Project 2313-2005 has now moved into the draft report phase. And then I have 5 newly assigned projects to bring to your attention that you can add to your status report. First project is Project 2302. This is a consultation on parole division workforce culture. In your annual audit plan that you approved last August, this was listed as a full scope audit. I have changed it to a consultation to allow more flexibility. We will still do it in accordance with auditing standards, but this gives us some more flexibility in order to do the consultation and help Mr. Hinojosa and Mr. Collier looking at parole division culture. Second is Project 2307. This is Office of the Inspector General, Criminal Case Disposition. Third, Project 2304 is Reentry Inmate Release Processes. Project 2313-1404. This is a follow-up on the Offender Information Management System, specifically related to a Parole Division Management Report. And then lastly, Project 2313-1805. This is a follow-up on a prior audit related to hazardous materials storage at TBCJ facilities. With that, I will pause for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Cerrito. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, thank you, and please be kind to Mr. Patrick.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, thank you. The next agenda item is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding proposed land transaction, request to sell land, Stevenson Unit, DeWitt County, Cuero, Texas. Agribusiness, Land, and Minerals Deputy Director Bill Lewis will be presenting. Mr. Lewis, if you are ready, please proceed.
Thank you and good morning, Chairman O'Daniel, Mr. Collier, members. As we discussed previously during the Business and Financial Operations Committee, we do have one item on the agenda. In accordance with House Bill 3636, as passed by the 86th Legislature, the Texas Board of Criminal Justice shall sell 100 acres of land located at the Stevenson Unit in DeWitt County. As authorized by Section 496.0021 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Board of Criminal Justice may sell state-owned real property under the board's management. Under provisions of the statute, the General Land Office shall negotiate and close that transaction on behalf of the board utilizing procedures set forth in Section 31-158C of the Natural Resources Code. Revenue received from the sale of this property shall be deposited in the Capital Trust Fund as directed by TBCJ Rider 51 and the General Appropriations Act. Again, if you would, please direct your attention to the screen. The acreage to be transferred to DeWitt County is located on the east side of the Stevenson Unit property, will be utilized to build a new airport for the city of Cuero. DeWitt County has agreed to pay $90,000 in compensation for the 100 acres. The agency will retain the mineral rights on the 100 acres. I stand available for question.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to sell land at the Stevenson Unit, DeWitt County, Cuero, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made, has been seconded by Ms. Perryman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next agenda item is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding proposed revisions to Board Policy 03.77, Revision 10, Inmate Grievances. General Counsel Kristen Moorman will be presenting. I see you're already ready. You may proceed.
Chairman O'Daniel, members of the board, and Mr. Collier, before you, Policy BP 0377 is being revised, and the revisions include revising the title of this policy to inmate grievances, changing offender to inmate throughout this policy directive, updating the authority section, revising the name of the Offender Grievance Operations Manual to Inmate Grievance Operations Manual, updating the signature authority, and additional grammatical and formatting updates.
Thank you, Ms. Warman. Are there any questions? Thank you. Do I have a motion?
You do, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the proposed revisions to Board Policy 03.77, Revision 10, Inmate Grievances as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made, has been seconded by Dr. Burrow. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next agenda item is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding proposed revisions to Board Policy 02.91, Revision 6, Uniform Inmate Correspondence Rules. Ms. Warman, please proceed.
Chairman O'Daniel, Mr. Collier, and board members, the revisions presented before you today for Policy BP 03.91 include adding language to allow the TDCJ to contract with a private vendor to provide the operation of a private digital mail processing center. There are additional definitions added to this policy, and some of the definitions for contraband, e-message, and watch list have been revised, and one definition for white paper has been removed. Throughout the policy, additional clarifying language was made, and additional language was added to implement a contract with a digital mail processing center. And I did want to point out in the documents before you, there is one error which states that we are removing the requirement for records to be maintained to indicate the source and destination of outgoing mail for death row inmates. We are not removing that language. And the policy was also edited for clarity and grammar, as well as updating the formatting of the policy.
Thank you, Ms. Warman. Are there any questions? Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the proposed revisions to 03.91 Uniform Inmate Correspondence Rules as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made. It has been seconded by Judge Francis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I would like to thank all of you for coming here today and remind you that the next meeting of the Texas Board of Criminal Justice will be Friday, August 25th, 2023 in Galveston, Texas. The board will reconvene at 11:40 to conduct executive session, which is closed to the public. In accordance with the Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, executive session will be conducted in the Insight Boardroom. The 229th meeting of the Texas Board of Criminal Justice is now recessed. It is 11:28. Thank you.
Isn't my dog adorable?
Yes, I've been scratching the dog's nose. You get an Oprah daily. No.